Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
Clark Schmidt gets the ball tonight, and he will go toe-to-toe with an old friend. The Bombers will try to overthrow the King, and we will get you ready for the middle game of the series as the New York Yankees host the San Diego Padres in a Tuesday night tilt at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And right away, we have got friendlier skies over the ballpark. Rain impacted last night's game, but tonight looks like temperatures in the mid-60s and a forecast calling only for clouds. Much, much better. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Batting Practice Today, presented by Audi. I'm Nancy Newman. Anytime you acquire a marquee player, it comes with a steep price tag. The Yankees made clear how difficult it was to part ways with Michael King. Both the Padres and the Yankees look like winners in the current day. The Yankees, of course, reaching the World Series, and King, he has blossomed into a starter in a big way. The starting pitching is tonight's key to the game, brought to you by your local Kia dealers. And it's a matchup of former teammates. Clark Schmidt gets the ball for the Yankees. He is coming off a strong outing against the Blue Jays. For the Padres, King is 4-1 with an ERA just above 2. He has been especially good recently. The 29-year-old has a 1.07 earned run average over his last 4 starts, and he's holding opponents to a 149 batting average over that span. During his time with the Yankees, King grew from a pitching prospect into a dominant reliever and was looking like a rotation mainstay before the trade. Since then, he's become one of the best pitchers in the National League. He is top 5 in the league in wins, ERA, wins above replacement, and slugging percentage since joining San Diego. King was very popular in his time with the Yankees, and for good reason. He had a 3.38 ERA with more than 10 strikeouts per 9 innings across 115 games in pinstripes, and grew more and more valuable each year. Yesterday, he talked about what it was like to walk into the visitors' clubhouse at Yankee Stadium.
It's definitely different, but a lot of familiar faces still over here, so it's been good so far.
What were the emotions coming to the ballpark today? Did you have a lot of flashbacks of things, or just what were you feeling?
I mean, obviously the energy in New York's great. Seeing the stadium is cool, like the normal drive up, but I mean, we got a job to do, so it's a focus on getting outs.
Mostly good memories here, though, for you?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we had great team, great staff. A lot of wins. It was a really fun time.
Have you thought much about facing old teammates and what that might be like?
Definitely weird to scout against them. I've seen Judge swing the bat thousands of times. I've never once tried to get him out, so it'll be a very hard challenge, but it was a fun time scouting them and trying to see their swings in different ways than I normally am used to.
Are you anticipating all there being a moment as they're walking up to the plate where you might have a quick eye contact, or is it going to be all business, or you just have to see how it plays out?
There will definitely be eye contact, but I gotta make sure I stay locked in, because obviously that's best in the big leagues.
Michael, you have excelled as a starting pitcher going on nearly 2 years now. What has that success done for your approach in terms of your routine as a starter and your overall mentality as a big league successful starting pitcher?
Well, thank you. It totally drastically changed last year. As a multi-inning guy out of the pen, I still had to know how to get both righties and lefties out. I had to be able to sequence with all my pitches, so it was similar in that sense. But then having Ruben, the pitching coach here, and then it was Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish that were the mentors for me last year. Learning how to flip a lineup, learning how to throw pitches that you necessarily don't really want to throw, but you have to show different looks to different guys to get them out 3 times. It was huge for my development. So it's been a totally different routine than what it was in the bullpen, but it's been fun and successful so far.
Meanwhile, Clark Schmidt is coming off 5 innings of 1-run ball against the Blue Jays, and he's had a couple of extra days rest. He has been difficult to hit all year, especially with his knuckle curve. Opponents are batting .067 against that pitch, and it's a major strikeout weapon. When Schmidt is on the mound, the Yankees have a whole lot of confidence.
Clark Schmidt, take one.
Clark, I always say, as confident as anyone in the game.
Big strikeout for Schmidt.
Clark Schmidt is one of the sexiest pitchers in the game.
He's so confident in his ability, and rightfully so.
3 strikeouts for Schmidt.
He's got a great aptitude, he's got great ability, and the ability to really spin the baseball, so that allows him to do a lot of different things.
When you look at his stuff and the spin that he gets on his pitches, he has an elite arsenal.
Another 1, 2, 3 inning. He's retired 11 in a row.
Clark continued to develop last year, really came into his own. Another guy that really carried us in the first half.
If we were tracking Clark Schmidt as a stock, he would be going big time northward.
He paid dividends last year, and he's paying even more this year.
Put himself up there as one of the best starters in the league.
Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Schmidt pumped up as he walks off the mound.
Continues to adapt and evolve his arsenal, improve the curveball, which always been a strength of his. Got the cutter into some better spots, really handled lefties at a higher rate last year. So a guy that has a lot of confidence in himself, and the work backs it up. So really excited to see where he goes this year.
He's got terrific stuff. He's got several pitches that he can go to and that he trusts. Schmidt is someone who has a ton of upside, as they like to say, as a Yankee pitcher.
He will be leaned on heavily again this year, and hopefully he can take another step forward as one of the game's really good starting pitchers.
When he can get ahead, then he can use that breaking ball. Such tight spin. You see, it's just hard for even their hottest hitter, George Springer, to lay off.
Definitely loves his stuff and is really nasty.
And the pitch. Swing and a miss. How about Clark Schmidt?
Getting to have him in the rotation and having his swag on the mound, it adds to everyone around him, and I think that's what makes him great.
The 0-2 to Young. He got him. Clark Schmidt doing his thing on a Friday night in the Bronx.
I think he's going to have a long, long career. He's incredible. His work ethic is dialed in.
Here's what I like about Clark Schmidt. He's smart, he's conscientious, and he's accountable.
He's someone who wants to be great. He actually puts the work in each and every day to get there.
That's an impressive 8 shutout innings. Teammates love it.
I'm hoping he has an incredible career. Yeah, I'm sending him all the love and the blessings.
Yeah, I think obviously a ton of confidence and kind of knowing who I am as a pitcher.
Strike 3. Manzardo down looking.
And so just very appreciative of not only my successes in my career, but also my failures.
Clark Schmidt seems to be in a really good rhythm.
Last year, obviously had a lot of success, taking away the injury. Very thankful to be able to have this opportunity that I have this year and just be able to go out there and work with this staff and every 5 days give my team a chance to win.
With 2 strikeout artists on the mound tonight, offense will be at a premium just as it was yesterday. The Yankees carried that 3-run lead into the 8th inning. Then the Padres came up with some timely hits to put 4 runs on the board. Let's take a look at the lineups for Game 2 tonight. For visiting San Diego, Fernando Tatis Jr. starts it off, followed by Luis Arraez. Cleaning up, it's the return of Jackson Merrill. He got off to an impressive start, batting .378 with 3 home runs through 10 games, but he's been out of action since April 6th because of a hamstring strain. Batting third, it's Manny Machado, who dealt the first big blow in the Padres' comeback last night. With the bases loaded and 1 out, he lined a 2-run double off Luke Weaver to get San Diego within 1 run. That passed the baton to Xander Bogaerts, who then singled to drive in the tying and go-ahead runs. The 4 runs allowed by Devin Williams and Weaver were the most in a game by the Yankees bullpen since April the 25th. And for Machado, it extended his hitting streak to 6 games. For your New York Yankees, their lineup, they're loading up on lefties. Grisham, Rice, Bellinger, Dominguez, Wells, Cabrera, and Vivas all in there. Lefties facing King have a slugging percentage that is more than 100 points higher than righties. Grisham leads off, and with his 2-run homer last night, he now has as many home runs this season as he did all of last year. And the Yankees' other extra base hit last night came courtesy of Ben Rice, who gets the start at first base tonight in place of Paul Goldschmidt. Rice has 8 hits over his last 12 games, and 6 of them have gone for extra bases. With 6 doubles, 1 triple, and 8 home runs, Rice has 2 more extra base hits this season than he did last year. That includes a double last night that had the Yankees threatening in the first inning. Rice has been at his best when there's a righty on the mound. He's batting .303 against them this year with 13 extra base hits, 10 runs batted in, 12 walks, and an OPS north of 1,000. He could be key for the Bombers' game plan against King tonight. We've got so much more to come here on Yankees Batting Practice Today, presented by Audi. Up next, we will hear from Aaron Boone as he gets his Yankees ready for Game 2 against the Padres. Stay with us on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
Yankees Batting Practice Today is presented by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
We are back. Of note, the Yankees own a run differential of +51. That is the 4th best mark in baseball behind the Cubs, Mets, and Tigers. Despite being 12 games over 500, the Padres are only at +39 for their run differential. Their pitching staff has been a real difference maker. Thank you for being with us on Yankees Batting Practice Today, presented by Audi. News came down earlier today that there has been a bit of a shakeup on the Yankees pitching staff. The team announced that they have designated Carlos Carrasco for assignment in order to call up Yerry De Los Santos. In our Toyota quote of the day, Skipper Boone talked about what went into that decision.
Just kind of felt like needed some extra coverage, just into today and tomorrow, and yeah, I mean, tough call. Obviously was how we feel about Cookie, so just felt like we needed to do this. We've toyed with it for a couple days now, and just felt like it was the right time.
How tough is that for you, giving that news to a guy who's had a decade plus in this game?
Yeah, very. And what I told him, and I've always admired him from across the diamond, and we got to see it up close, just what a phenomenal human being that Carlos is, and the way he carries himself and the class with which he carries himself. It really was a pleasure to be around him for these last couple of months, and who knows? We may be back here. I don't know what the next several days lies ahead, or where he's at, but just a lot of respect for the guy.
Let's take another break here on Yankees Batting Practice Today, presented by Audi. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we will hear from Garrett Cole. The Yankees ace gives us an update. Take a deep dive into the Yankees minor leagues with Conversations, a homegrown podcast with Connor Foley. The latest episode features AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre manager Shelley Duncan, and it's available now on the Gotham Sports app. It is so great to have you back with us on Yankees Batting Practice Today, presented by Audi. A very familiar and welcome face has returned to the Yankees dugout. Garrett Cole has advanced far enough in his rehab to where it is possible for him to return to being an invaluable resource on the bench. Earlier, Justin Shackle caught up with the Yankees ace for tonight's injury report, brought to you by Montefiore Einstein.
Gary, yesterday you mentioned how the first 8 weeks following Tommy John surgery are crucial. What makes that period so important?
I think you're doing some of the most intense healing from the surgery, both from an incision perspective, but also from the surgery itself inside the joint.
What was getting that brace off like for you?
It was really nice. It's quite restrictive and a bit cumbersome, but it did its job, and so it was on to the next once I got rid of it.
What have doctors told you about the recovery and what you could be once you heal?
Yeah, I mean, they quote the statistics that there's a high probability of returning to previous form. I think, the general consensus is the shelf life on a successful Tommy John is 7 to 10 years. It should be all right. I think that remains to be seen. I'm sure hope so. Everything's been going really well, but you just got to take it one day at a time.
The recovery rate through the years has increased with this procedure, but we know that it is a rigorous comeback physically from a pitcher. I don't know how many people talk about the mental side and how rigorous that is. And I know you mentioned the advice you get from your peers, even your teammates. Can any advice prepare an athlete for what they endure mentally following this procedure?
I mean, not really. I mean, you got to be in the cast. You got to be having to switch to doing everything with your other arm to fully understand it. But when you're in those positions and you're feeling down, you definitely replay in your mind, what people talk to you about beforehand. And so to a certain extent, it's predictable, but it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to go through it. But it ends, it passes as time goes by.
You're going to be 35 later this year. How have you come to grips with no baseball for roughly, the first time in roughly 30 years or so?
Every day it's a little bit of a challenge. I just, I miss it. Physically, I miss it mentally. On the flip side, I get to be a dad, which I didn't expect. I didn't count on having that opportunity much during the season. So that's been a great silver lining in all this, and it's been a source of happiness and motivation to keep going. Every day is a little bit of a challenge, but I try to find the good every day and just keep plugging along.
What's been the best part of the added dad duties during this period?
They're really excited to see you after you pick them up from school, and in the morning making pancakes together or making eggs. I mean, it's kind of similar to the off season. It's just extended, and then we have summer sports, so getting to see soccer and t-ball and chess class and things like that is really great.
When you look at what the Yankees have been doing with their pitching staff and some of the names that have been forced to step up within the rotation, one guy comes to mind, a young pitcher in Will Warren. What have you seen from Will Warren so far?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of perseverance. Obviously, he's not gotten the results that, I think he's expecting, and that's tough to deal with. But he shows up every day, and, he gets after his work, and he's got a mindset that he's going to keep getting better. Everybody goes through these types of things as you get to the big leagues and as you have a long career. There's ups and downs. I think ideally I want to get off to a good start, but that's not how it happens for everybody. And so, Will's taking it in stride and looking to just, make slow gains and improve his foundation going forward. He's very aware of it, and he's very competitive.
I know you're going to be around the team more during the games in the dugout. What is it like to know that so many look to you as a pitching soundboard?
I mean, it's, that level, the support that I get from my teammates is a big part of, mentally recovering and enjoying my time here and feeling appreciated is, it's important, I think, in times like this. So I'm really thankful that they feel that way about me, and humbled to a certain extent. At the same time, I'm not pitching. I'm not reading swings. I'm not, doing my prep work on the computer. So I don't know how sharp my advice is right now, but sometimes just a pat on the butt is all it takes. So hopefully I can sharpen that as I keep going and keep getting around more.
Well, we appreciate you. And look, if you have any extra downtime, you want to come into the booth with the headset on, I don't think anyone's going to object to that.
Well, we'll have to run it by my teammates, but we'll see. Maybe one day.
All right, Garrett, thanks for the time. Best of luck.
Thanks, Justin.
Love to see that. Let's take one last break here on Yankees batting practice today, presented by Audi. We will be back to wrap things up as we move closer to first pitch in the Bronx. Stay with us. Weaver, Danny Cunningham looking on back there. Busy man yesterday, taking it a little easier tonight, just watching the Yankees warm up, get some swings in. The forecast looks good for baseball. The forecast does. Only cloudy skies expected. Last night's inclement weather, though, left Jason Dominguez with the difficult assignment of pinch hitting in the 9th inning while facing 100-mile-per-hour pitching in the pouring rain. The rookie did manage to get off some quality swings. He continues to do damage against right-handers, batting .305 against them with an OPS over 800. As for some other things to look out for, Jackson Merrill finished runner-up for NL Rookie of the Year honors last season. And tonight he'll play his first game since April 6th. His Padres own the longest active winning streak in the majors at 6 in a row. Meanwhile, Aaron Judge stretched his on-base streak to 31 games last night. And when his Yankees score at least 4 runs, they are 17-7 this year. After tonight, the Yankees have one more game against the Padres. Coverage for Wednesday's game begins at 6:30 p.m. on Prime. Then it's a day off on Thursday before the Bombers head west. Up first, it's 3 games in Sacramento against the Athletics, then 3 more in Seattle, and then coming up on the next homestand, it is round 1 of the Subway Series. That does it for this edition of Yankees Batting Practice Today, presented by Audi. Our next BPTV comes your way Saturday at 3 p.m. Right now, our game day coverage rolls on. It's game 2 of a 3-game set versus the visiting Padres in the Bronx. Once friends, now foes square off. Time to hand off to the best pregame in the biz. Next on Yes.
Everyone gather in close and say cheese, because we've got a picture-perfect pitching matchup in the Bronx tonight. Let's frame things up as the New York Yankees get ready for the game against the San Diego Padres on a Tuesday night at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Get ready, Jack. It's photo op time right here. Welcome to the FanDuel Yankees pregame. Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry with you. Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Padres, and pitching definitely at a premium tonight. 2 guys going not head-to-head, but in a way head-to-head. 2 good friends from the past. Let's get your Hyundai opening comment.
Yeah, Clark Schmidt and Michael King both will go to the mound with the same assignment tonight, Bob. They want to stop the opposing team's hitters, but only one of them is going to be king for a day. That's why I think there is some mano-a-mano going between these 2 friends, because they are foes tonight. They're trying to outdo each other, trying to silence the other team's bats and maybe get a little bit of bragging rights. They were minor league teammates, so their relationships goes back a long way. Both of them trying to impress tonight in the Bronx.
All right, we'll talk more about the pitching matchup coming up, but right now let's get it out to the stadium. Justin Shackle in for Meredith Barakovitz with the Clubhouse Report, brought to you by your local Ford stores. And I know you'll dig into this pitching matchup tonight in just a bit, but first, pitching news on another front for the Yankees. They had to make a roster move, Justin. Tell us about that.
Yes, Bob, the Yankees did make one move in terms of bringing up a pitcher. They parted ways with another. Yerry De Los Santos is up from AAA, and the Yankees designated Carlos Carrasco for assignment. Carrasco won a rotation spot out of spring training. He gave the Yankees 6 starts. He made 2 other appearances out of the bullpen, and Aaron Boone did talk about the difficulty in having to part ways with a pitcher who's had over 15 years of big league service time, but he felt that the Yankees needed some extra pitching coverage over the next 2 days. And I asked him if it had more to do with the staff as a whole and where they're at in the schedule, or whether it had to do with Clark Schmidt being on the mound tonight. Remember, they pushed Schmidt back. He was originally slated to start over the weekend. Now he's starting here tonight. And Boone said that Schmidt is expected to give a full performance, but the coverage is there just in case. He added that the next few days and how they unfold will determine what the Yankees do with that 5th spot in the rotation. There was added discussion on what transpired in last night's game, guys. 8th inning, Devin Williams brought in. Bit of a mixed bag. Devin Williams had 2 strikeouts. He also walked 2. He gave up a broken bat soft single as well. That loaded the bases. Luke Weaver came in, surrendered 2 run-scoring hits to Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. But bottom line, Aaron Boone set Devin Williams up for the bottom third of the Padre lineup with a 3-run lead. Williams admitted he did not get the job done, and today Boone was asked more, and more specifically how he will determine the spots for Williams moving forward.
Look, on given nights, it's got to be anything and everything. But I want to keep him in leverage situations and at the back end of the game, places he's normally used to pitching in. Try where I can, clean innings and things like that. Felt like last night with a 3-run lead there, we're at the bottom of the order. It was a good spot for him to, build another one. And so just being mindful of that, but also understanding like we need him as like a key guy down there. You got to kind of share it down there a little bit. So I feel like a lot of really good things are happening in our bullpens. We've obviously had some hiccups here on given days, but we need Devin to be a big part of it too.
Williams spoke after the game last night. He talked about having a good feel for his pitches, but the landing spot on the mound, the soggy mound at Yankee Stadium, was giving him some issues, but he didn't make any excuses. He said that he has to get the job done there. But several of his Yankee teammates and the Yankees as a whole, they still believe that Devin Williams is the type of talent that we've seen earlier in his big league career when he was with Milwaukee. He just needs to go out there and pitch knowing he has that type of talent. Well, if you rewind the clock about 2 years ago, the Yankees knew that they had a supreme talent in their bullpen with Michael King, and we know the story. Later on in 2023, he converted into a starter down the stretch, and that led to him being the centerpiece in the trade that brought the Yankees Juan Soto. Since then, King has not looked back as a starting pitcher. He's emerged as one of the best starting pitchers around the sport, and I talked to Boone about King's emergence and what Aaron Boone's noticed from afar in terms of King's personal growth as a starting pitcher.
We saw it happen in front of us here, where, he became a dominant reliever. Then he had the injury, but came back from that and was dominant. And then got his crack into the rotation, got built up at the end of 23 and looked every bit the part in the starting rotation in that role too. And as you know, when we were going through that trade last winter for Juan, took a few extra days as we tried to keep Michael out of it. But happy for him that he's gone and had the success I think we could envision for him. Like he's ascended to, one of the top starters in the game, and it's credit to him and his work ethic and his knowledge of pitching and just his ability to do it. And hopefully has a tough one tonight, but really happy for him because he was, he's a great teammate and a great guy in our room.
I caught up with Michael King yesterday as he prepares for his start tonight. He admitted, like a lot of former Yankees, they didn't know where to go in terms of finding the visiting clubhouse. He had to ask his Padres teammates on where to head. But he also said, there's going to be something extra flowing through his veins as he takes the mound tonight against his former teammates. And also he's going to be facing a lot of teammates. It's going to be hard to not crack a smile to them, but also the big challenge facing these Yankee hitters, more specifically trying to figure out how to attack and get Aaron Judge out. That will obviously be no easy task for Michael King. So it'll be King and Clark Schmidt. The inner confidence will be flowing on the mound, guys. And you also can bet that Garrett Cole will be taking this game in from the Yankees dugout. The Yankees ace, he met up with reporters yesterday for the first time since he underwent Tommy John surgery back in March, and he was kind enough to spend a few minutes with me this afternoon following a workout here at the stadium, and we talked about a number of topics surrounding his Tommy John recovery, but most specifically it's about this period that he's in now and why this 8-week period is so important for Garrett Cole post-op.
I think you're doing some of the most intense healing from the surgery, both from an incision perspective, but also from the surgery itself inside the joint.
What was getting that brace off like for you?
It was really nice. It's quite restrictive and a bit cumbersome, but it did its job, and so it was on to the next once I got rid of it.
What have doctors told you about the recovery and what you could be once you heal?
Yeah, I mean, they quote the statistics that there's a high probability of returning to previous form. I think, the general consensus is the shelf life on a successful Tommy John is 7 to 10 years. It should be all right. I think that remains to be seen. I'm sure hope so. Everything's been going really well, but you just got to take it one day at a time.
Cole and I also dove into the mental side of Tommy John recovery. So if you want to see that interview in its full entirety and our discussion with Michael King ahead of his start tonight, head over to the S Network social media channels. As for some of the other players on the injured list, time for our Morgan and Morgan injury report. This afternoon, Giancarlo Stanton took live BP against Jake Cousins, both making their way back from their respective injuries. Aaron Boone said that Cousins looked solid on the mound, and so did Stanton in the batter's box. And he talked about the next steps for Giancarlo. Said more of the same here. Facing live pitching as you get a good look of that matchup, Cousins and Stanton. There's a strike on the outside corner. But he also mentioned how Giancarlo will continue his work on the high velocity machines as the Yankees go on their road trip. He'll also continue in progression with his running program. We saw Giancarlo running along the warning track in the pouring rain yesterday afternoon, so that is still on the table for him. And as for DJ LeMahieu, he will continue his rehab assignment the next 2 nights with AAA, and then the Yankees will talk about what the next move could be. But Boone always left open the possibility that LeMahieu could rejoin the team and be activated for this weekend's road series in Sacramento, Bob.
Justin, thank you for that. Look forward to seeing you again in just a couple minutes with Michael and Paul. Let's set the table with tonight's starting lineups, beginning with the Yankees. Courtesy of Toyota, Trent Grisham, 9th home run last night. He's back in the leadoff spot. He has 9 homers in 29 games this season. He had 9 homers all of last season in 76 games. Meantime, Aaron Judge, his 14-game hitting streak came to an end last night, but he did walk in the first inning to extend his on-base streak to 31 games. And the DH tonight, Jason Dominguez. All 4 outfielders getting in there. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Check out the Padres lineup, brought to you by Toyota. Luis Campusano, the only Padre with a multi-hit game last night, he got shipped to AAA today because they had to make room for Jackson Merrill, reinstated off the injured list with a right hamstring strain. His first game since April 6th. Prior to that, in 10 games, he had 3 homers and a 1090 OPS. Well, coming up on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, we'll dive deeper into this pitching showdown between Clark Schmidt for the Yanks and Michael King for the Padres. A matchup years in the making. Keep it here on Yes in the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is presented by FanDuel. All FanDuel customers can make every dinger on Tuesdays mean more with a profit boost from FanDuel. The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
It's time for the pregame odds segment presented by FanDuel, and the Bombers are looking to bounce back against old pal Michael King and the Padres. For a same-game parlay, let's go with Aaron Judge to hit a dinger, Trent Grisham to get a hit, and Clark Schmidt to hit the over on 4.5 strikeouts. That parlay comes in at plus 753. All FanDuel customers can make every dinger on Tuesdays mean more with a profit boost from FanDuel.
He actually didn't know that it was me against him on Tuesday, but so I texted him making sure he was okay after he got bumped back a little bit. But that'll be another fun one. I might leave a little note on the mound for him.
They can do that, maybe just scratch something with their cleats or something. Hi, Clark. What's up, C? You never know, right? Hey, this is what is an interesting sidebar. You found this 2019 back with the Trenton Thunder. These guys pitched in the same game, and it was a big-time game, too.
Bob, we always talk about pitchers' journeys to get where they are tonight. Well, how about the journey of Schmidt and King? You talked about it. Let's go back to the Eastern League Championship with the Trenton Thunder. Who started the game? Clark Schmidt, as always. He's got the swing and miss stuff. We're seeing 3 Ks in these grainy highlights. Love the highlights from back in 2019. Guess who came in to relieve him? Yes, it was Michael King. And, of course, with that delivery that we became so used to seeing, difficult for players to pick up the ball. He's getting some swing and miss on pitches high in the zone. And, Bob, I reached out to Pat Osborne. He was managing the Trenton Thunder back in 2019. He's now a coach in the Kansas City Royals system at the AAA level. He said, first and foremost, 2 tremendous human beings who happen to be really very good baseball players, unbelievable competitors. But then his own mini scouting report on Michael and Clark Schmidt said he's never seen a minor league pitcher prepare the way that Michael King did, taking copious notes in the dugout, always ready, and an elite strike thrower. And then as far as Clark Schmidt goes, and the Yankees are hoping for some of this tonight, he said the swing and miss that he would get with his pitches, he'd throw 58-foot pitches at the AA level and register a bunch of strikeouts because batters just couldn't pick up what he was throwing.
So, Jack, here's the deal. His last start was his third. He was against Toronto, 6 strikeouts in that game, but 4 walks, 90 pitches to get through 5, and 1 hit allowed. It was a home run. So when you look at that box score, you're like, 5 innings, 1 hit, that's great. But there's more in Clark Schmidt, right?
Yeah, there's always room for improvement when you hear a line like that. Yes, the Yankees would take that, but I'm sure Clark Schmidt would say, well, I've got to tidy up the walks. I've got to be more efficient. If I'm throwing 90 pitches, I should be able to get this game into the 6th inning. We always talk about his elite stuff and the spin that he has on his pitches. Back in 2019, he wasn't throwing that cutter that he features so often now. He's got better spin on his pitches, and I think he is going to be excited to be going up against King, who was the player who went to San Diego in the trade for Soto. Both of their names were mentioned, Schmidt and King. The Yankees tried to hold on to King. The Padres desperately wanted King, and he was the centerpiece of that deal.
Yeah, he has elite stuff. He's 4-1 this season, Jack, a 191 batting average against, and he's averaging about 7 strikeouts per game. So the swing and miss stuff there for King as well.
Just an unbelievably confident pitcher on the mound, does his homework. We've talked about the sinker. That was a pitch that he used so often when he was a Yankee. It's still the pitch that he throws more than any other. He works in, obviously, a 4-seam, a change, and a sweeper. And, Bob, you talk about him becoming a starter in late 23 with the Yankees. If you go back to the day that he became a starter at the Major League level until now, the only pitchers with better earned run averages than him during that period, Skeens and Skubal. That's pretty heady company to be involved with.
His Arsenal brought to you by StatCast 3D, powered by Google Cloud. You mentioned it, Jack. It is a pretty even mix of sinker, 4-seamer, and changeup, along with the sweeper thrown in.
Yeah, he loves to start batters off, especially from the right side, with something hard, like a lot of pitchers. He wants to get ahead with either his sinker or his 4-seamer, be able to work in that sweeper and that changeup. When he spoke to Justin Shackle and other members of the media, he talked about facing Judge, and obviously that is a task that every pitcher who has to face the Yankees talks about, probably doesn't embrace, but talks about. So I'm really curious to see how King attacks him. I do think he'll probably start him off with something where he tries to get ahead in the count, so then he can try and go sweeper or changeup.
All right, so he is going to be a free agent after the season. He's going to be highly sought after because a lot of people have talked about this, too. As a reliever, he doesn't have as much mileage on his arm. Would that be part of the sales pitch?
I think his agent will absolutely bring that up. I think when Michael King heads into free agency in this offseason, he could be the #1 starting pitcher target out there. It's only May. He wants to accomplish a lot of things with the Padres this season, but I think as you look towards the offseason, the Yankees already have had a relationship with him. He is a pitcher who just keeps getting better. He puts the work in. He's smart. He's conscientious. So we'll see what the future holds for Michael King. It's looking very bright in the present. I think it's going to get even brighter, and he's going to get even wealthier in the future.
All right, so want to remind you all season long here on Yes, we invite you viewers to show us in different ways you support the Yankees. Use the QR code on screen with hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride and post pictures to social media that reflect your love for the Yanks. We might spotlight you in a future game. Pinstripe Pride is brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. Alongside Aaron Judge, the Yankees outfield has been very productive this season. And coming up next on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, we'll talk more about that crowded position group, so stick around.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com. The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com.
Hey, Yankee fans, I'm News 12 meteorologist Rich Hoffman. Your game day forecast as the Yankees take on the San Diego Padres. We're going to be looking at a slight chance of a thunderstorm towards first pitch. And when it's not raining, there's going to be a little fog, a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of mist. Have the warmer wet weather gear. We're looking at temperatures generally in the 60s into the upper 50s, tracking a little bit of that wet weather, the showers that will be with us during the game time. Have a great game. Go Yankees. And back to you.
Thank you, Rich, for that. Now, 4 outfielders have been producing for the Yanks, and Aaron Boone-Jack calls it a good puzzle because he has to make these pieces fit. And tonight he does that with Rice at first, Goldschmidt out, and Dominguez DHing. So all 4 we'll see in the lineup tonight.
He makes it fit because he rests Goldschmidt against the tough righty. The Yankees will have 7 batters from the left side, but this is going to be something that Boone is going to have to figure out every night. And a big part of the reason why is because Trent Grisham has crashed the party. He was a backup outfielder last season, only had slightly more than 200 plate appearances all year long. He already has almost 100 this year, and guess what? He's equaled his home run total from last year, so he deserves at-bats. Dominguez deserves to play. He's a young kid. You want to get him reps. You want to get him out there as often as possible, but he has struggled from the right side. He's 3 for 36 against left-handed pitching. He needs to solve that aspect of his game so that he can be a starter every day, not even have to look at the lineup card, know that he's in there every day.
Got to take one last break here on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, but we still have to hear what Jack has penned in for his key to the game. We'll do that next on Yes in the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by EEP Law. Counsel that cares. Results that matter. The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Spring is the season for new beginnings, and it's the best time to get behind the wheel of a sophisticated new Cadillac SUV. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today.
We're about to get you out to the stadium for Game 2, Yanks Padres, but we're not going anywhere until we get your key to the game.
The key for the Yankees, Bob, is to get a lead and protect it. The Yankees have 5 losses this season where they've had leads in the 8th inning or later. Their bullpen is too good to allow those games to evaporate. You've got to be able to shut down the opposition when you have a lead late in the game. They've lost 4 in a row. They never had a 5-game losing streak all of last season, Bob, so even more reason to turn it around tonight.
We'll lock it in. Great pitching matchup. Clark Schmidt against Michael King, and it's Mike O'Kay and Paul O'Neill with the call. Justin reporting. Enjoy the ball game.
Attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
Another gloomy night here in the Bronx, but it is time for baseball as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the San Diego Padres in the middle game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with Paul O'Neill, I'm Michael Kay. First game of the series, a tough loss for the Yankees. Had a 3-0 lead moving into the 8th inning, and the bullpen could not hold it, so they lose by a score of 4-3. But that loss does not go on the record of Trent Grisham because he continues to rake for them. The guy who came over from the Padres has been a revelation this year for the Yanks.
Well, he's always been a great defensive player, gold glove guy, but he came over last year and didn't have a lot of opportunities to play. So far this year, offensively, putting the ball in play, but most of all, when he's putting the ball in play, he's putting it out of the ballpark. 9 home runs on the year. year, Trent Grisham all of a sudden seems to look like he's your everyday center fielder.
Now, he hit 9 all of last year and hit 190. This year, he's at 298 with the 9 home runs and the OPS 1.010. Now, Grisham came over with Juan Soto in the deal with the Padres. One guy that the Padres had to have from the Yankees was Michael King. They realized his value, and he has paid off for them. He's starting tonight against the Yanks. So far, he's been great this season.
Well, he was the guy that nobody really wanted to get rid of him. I mean, he was a true Yankee, loved being here, but all of a sudden, you know that this deal was not going to happen without him. He's always had that crossfire delivery, really nasty on righties, but all of a sudden now he'll throw that two-seamer at a left-hander's hip. He's one of the premier starters in the National League.
Now, ERA leaders since 2022. You've got Fried number 1, King next, Skubal third, and Snell fourth. That's pretty good company Michael King is keeping. Now, Michael King is going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and he talks about that with our very own Justin Shackle, and also what this start in the Bronx means for him coming back to where it all started. That's right, our young prince against the King coming up next.
Welcome back to Yankees baseball. Yes, we are getting set for Game 2 of this 3-game set as the Yankees try and even it up against the San Diego Padres. Hey, everybody, I'm Justin Shackle. This time 2 years ago, Michael King had solidified himself as an important piece to the Yankee bullpen puzzle. And following a string of starts down the stretch in 2023, King was the centerpiece in the trade that brought Juan Soto to the Bronx. Now thriving with the Padres, King has distinguished himself as one of the best starting pitchers across Major League Baseball. And tonight, he'll be on the mound for the first time as a visiting pitcher in the Bronx. Earlier, I caught up with King as he looks forward to tonight's start against his former teammates.
I'd lie to you if I said I didn't have as a little bit more adrenaline in this one. But yeah, it's I can't let the hype get to me because I still got a job to do, you know. And it's a phenomenal lineup over there, so I got to channel that adrenaline and make sure that I can have some success.
What will it be like staring down Aaron Judge from the pitcher's mound?
Yeah, I faced him in a couple IBPs like in 2021. But I think that's it. I don't think I faced him since then. So it'll be fun. I mean, best hitter in baseball. Doesn't really have holes, so it's all about sequencing and hoping I can just miss a barrel.
Judge will be in right field and batting third against his former teammate. When we come back, Clark Schmidt will take the ball for the Yankees. Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill will take the mics. That's all when we return on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by the New York Lottery. Get out there and play. By Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. And by Hyundai, test drive a new Hyundai today only at your local Hyundai dealer. Some of the players that have played for both teams. Dave Winfield started his career with the Padres, signed as a free agent with the Yankees, and went all the way to the Hall of Fame. History between these two teams. They met in the World Series in 1998. Paul, you remember that World Series, right?
Pretty well.
Yeah. Pretty good World Series. Yankees finished what many people consider the greatest season in baseball history, 125-50. But I remember you telling me that year, Paul, that every win was a relief, not a celebration, because if you guys didn't win that year, the whole regular season would have seemed like nothing.
Yeah, when you have a special year like that, it's just all of a sudden, if you don't finish the deal, then it's all kind of forgotten. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, were they that good? Or, you know what, when you add a world championship to it, then you look back at it as an unbelievable year.
And if you think it's hyperbole what we're saying, all you have to do is look at the 2001 Mariners. Yeah. They won 116 games, and people still say, well, the Yankees won 14 is the most, but Seattle didn't win.
Right.
So the 116 wasn't validated.
It just does not mean as much. I mean, to have a great season, you get to the playoffs, you get to the World Series, and then the pressure starts. You got to win.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Yankees take the field. Clark Schmidt working on 8 days rest. He was kind of moved forward a little bit after the sore left side derailed him, but nothing that was going to make him miss a start. And this is the starting batting order that the Padres will send against the Yankee right-hander. Tatis in right. Arise at first, Machado at third. That's the top of the order. Jackson Merrill off the IL and into the cleanoff spot. He's going to play center field. Playing shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. Gavin Sheets, the DH, will bat sixth. Batting seventh, the left fielder, Jason Hayward. Then it's Diaz will catch, and Wade will play second base. So Tatis, who got thrown out of yesterday's game, he's readying himself to face Clark Schmidt. This is Schmidt's fourth start, 5.52. 14.2 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts. Let's check out the Nissan Pitchers scouting report.
Well, I'm back. You mentioned it, Michael. He's on 8 days rest because of left side soreness. But see how he looks as far as being sharp. And the spinners. Michael, I need a spinner song when we're done with this. But really relies on all of his breaking balls. The cutter, the knuckle curve, which hitters are only hitting .069 against. He just likes to spin the baseball. And owning the righties, right-handed batters, 2 for 22 this year against Schmidt, which is an .091 batting average. Give me a spinner song.
Working my way back to you.
Oh, that didn't take long. Good for you.
4 right-handed batters on the bench for Mike Shilt's Padres, so he is certainly stacking the lineup against Clark Schmidt. But this is one righty that they don't worry about righty-righty matchups. Tatis could hit anybody with a .317 average, 8 home runs and 18 runs batted in. Padres coming at 23-11, and the Yankees 19-16. Bellinger's in left, Grisham in center, and Aaron Judge over in right. In the infield, it's Cabrera, Bibas, and Rice. Jason Dominguez at DH. Austin Wells is behind the plate. So another gloomy night. Kind of a mist here at the stadium, but nothing like it was last night. Hopefully get through this without any more precipitation. Yesterday, 2 separate delays of 28 minutes. One at the start of the game and one in the 5th inning. Hopefully none of that right now. Tatis is ready. Schmidt is ready. And let's do it here in the Bronx. First pitch is a strike, and we are underway. Quinn Walcott, the home plate umpire. Ramon De Jesus at first. Paul Clemens at second. The crew chief, Adrian Johnson, is over third. The 0-1. 0-2. Let's take a look at what Quinn Walcott's all about. Well, Paul O'Neill would like him. Hitter friendly. 13th big league season. Fewer high strikes and fewer inside strikes on righty batters. The 0-2, way outside. Impressive. The second pitch is 95 miles an hour, so he's got some velocity tonight.
Yeah, and he spins the ball, too. It's all cutters and sinkers, and he's ahead in the count here. And it's what he tries to put away right-handed hitters, especially is with that knuckle curve or the slider off the outside part of the plate.
Swing and a miss. Breaking ball. Tatis down on strikes. Hi, Paul. It's time for the keys to the game, brought to you by your local Kia dealers.
Well, you're trying to break the streak. San Diego's off to a great start, 23-11, and they have won 6 in a row, so they come in here hot. And maxing out, Yankee lineup just stacked with lefties tonight. 7 out of the 9 batters, including the switch hitters, all left-handed against Michael King. And before the 7th, Padres are 23-0 when leading in the 7th. And we saw why last night, Michael, with the end of that bullpen they have.
Pretty impressive arms coming out of that pen. Yeah, you talk about leads. The Yankees are in first place in the American League East at 19-16, but they have lost 5 games where they led 8th inning or later. And that's usually games that the Yankees have always nailed down. If you take even 3 of them, you got a big lead in the American League East. And the Padres are 23-0 in those spots, and that's after the 7th inning. Mike Shildt got thrown out yesterday, threw his glasses away.
Got a new pair or got him back? One of the two.
Hope he found him in the grass. The 2-1.
You think about that situation last night, Michael, and he might even change the outcome of the game. It's just like they got a spark under him after Tatis got thrown out, and then Shildt went out and argued. All of a sudden, things changed.
So 3-1 on a rise. That one is ripped to right field. Judge turns and makes the play. A bullet to right. And Judge hauled it in for out number 2.
Well, Aaron Judge turned the wrong way on this, and it hooked back, and it makes it an extremely difficult play. So he had to make a total loop around, but Arise hit the ball hard, as he did last night to lead off a game to Bellinger. So he's hit line drives back-to-back nights, 0 for 1.
Here's Manny Machado. He had that big double in the 8th inning yesterday. That was against Luke Weaver. That made it 3-2. And then Bogart's got a 2-run single to make it 4-3, and that was the final.
Machado has always been a thorn in the side to the Yankees, and again last night. I mean, he just does what he does. He's a great hitter, run producer, great defensive player. I guess that just pretty much makes you a good player, huh?
I guess so.
You know, you mentioned it last night, Michael. You add another 5 years of these stats on it. He's Hall of Fame caliber player.
In his 14th big league season, played 103 games in his career against the Yankees with 22 home runs. So during that time, only Devers has homered more against the Yankees. And when you consider, Paul, they don't see Tatis all that much anymore because he's in the National League. Mm-hmm. They see Devers at least 13 times a year.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill back off the IL. He is on deck. Three and 2. Padres have won 6 in a row. We mentioned they're 23-11. That's the best 34-game start in franchise history, tied with the 98 Padres, who were also 23-11 and went to the World Series. Payoff, foul back. Game time weather presented by Bigelow, the official hot tea of the Yankees. 60 degrees. Who's to say? Chance of rain, humidity, and wind.
Yeah, if you're in New York, there's a good chance at some point, right?
The payoff, line to right field. It's a base hit in front of Judge. So Machado with a 2-out single.
Wasn't able to really get to the point where he could put him away with a knuckle curve. Went for the cutter right there. Manny Machado, that's really not a bad pitch. He just does everything right, sees the ball away, and just takes it away.
All right, so Merrill comes off the IL, missed 24 games with a right hamstring strain. And they optioned the catcher Luis Campusano to AAA to make room for Merrill on the roster. Paul, they must have agonized over that roster move because the Padre lineup didn't come out until after 6 o'clock, which is extraordinarily late.
Nobody noticed that but you and James. You were like flustered up here. You didn't know what to do. That's a little late for you.
I don't know, flustered, maybe chapped.
Yeah. All right.
The 1-0, 2-0.
Well, speaking of Merrill, I mean, he's only 22 years old. This is his second season, second in the Rookie of the Year last year. 292 with 24 home runs and 90 RBIs. Made the All-Star team. Got off to a tremendous start this year. First 10 games hitting 378. And then got hurt. So now he's back.
And he's from Severna Park, Maryland, which was also the hometown of Mark Teixeira.
Tex, huh?
Turner loose on 3-0, and he fouls it back. Now, Murrah said the Padres were the first team to scout him and reach out to him. He said they believed in me from day one. A.J. Preller, their GM, would scout him from the high school football bleachers next to the baseball field to avoid being spotted.
It worked, huh?
Hit shortly, a fair ball. It's going to go into the corner. Machado running to third. Judge Fields fires in, and they're going to hold Machado up at third as Bibas got the throw from Judge. So Merrill a double after missing 24 games. He comes back with a hard shot to right.
Yeah, this ball just kind of sits up in the zone, and it's just ripped down the right field line, and it's hit so hard. Aaron Judge doesn't rush anything, just knowing if he can get it in. But you're probably going to hold that runner, Machado, at third base. And Yankee Stadium, one of the harder places for the third base coach to make a decision early to send the guy or hold the guy right there. It's just like Aaron Judge made too good of a throw in, and at this point saved the run.
Well, a very quick trip to the mound to settle down Clark Schmidt.
Well, Machado got the big hit last night, and then it was followed up by an even bigger hit by Bogaerts, who's at the plate right now, that ended up getting that line drive to drive the two runners in, put the Padres ahead late. And that's not a good thing. When the Padres go ahead late, Michael, we talked about it, they usually go home with a win.
Second and third, 2 men out, just underway here at the stadium. Bogaerts at the plate. He has a 6-game hitting streak, 7 for 23. And essentially the game-winning hit, as Paul tells you, in last night's game. Turned a 3-2 deficit into a 4-3 lead. There's that knuckle curve, 1-1, dropped it in. Soft ground ball, Volpe. And a nice stretch by Rice to get Bogaerts, and that'll do it. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. Padres nothing. Yankees coming to bat. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Padres threaten. They don't score in the top of the first. Now this is the Yankee order that's going to go up against former teammate Michael King. Now Trent Grisham was not teammates with King, who's traded for him. He'll lead off. Ben Rice at first, Aaron Judge in right. Cleanup hitter is the left fielder Cody Bellinger. Jason Dominguez, DH, Anthony Volpe at short. Batting 7, the catching Austin Wells. Oswaldo Cabrera at third base, and Yorbi Bibas, the second baseman, will bat 9th. And they'll face the 29-year-old right-hander Michael King, making it 8th start. He's 4-1, 2.09. He has 46 strikeouts in 38 2/3 innings. Let's check out the Nissan pitcher scatter report.
Well, you hated to see him go. I mean, Michael King was really good for the Yankees, but if you're going to get Juan Soto, you're going to have to give up some players that are really good, and Michael King was one of them. Success as a starter, Yankees started to stretch him out because he always wanted to be a starter. That was one of the better starters in the in the Major League Baseball, and the big prize, free agent at the end of this year. He'll be one of the top starters on the market for sure.
So King is ready, and he'll face Grisham hitting .298. Swings over the sinker. You know, King half-jokingly says he badgered and pestered Aaron Boone to make him a starter. And he was so valuable in the bullpen, the Yankees were reluctant. They finally did make him a starter. He said, you know what, if they didn't make me a starter, there's no way the Padres would have traded Juan Soto for a middle reliever.
Well, that's a good point. It really is. But you can always see with his stuff and, you know, his ability to miss bats, that he could be a starting pitcher. And you'll see even the first couple pitches, he's learned to throw that two-seamer right at the hip of lefties and run it back over. And he followed it up by a changeup, now up and in. So, you know, he has so many pitches that he can go at you with. It's very difficult to really sit on anything.
Now the trade happened on December 7, 2023. Yankees sent King, Kyle Higashioka, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Drew Thorpe for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham. Padres then sent Drew Thorpe to Chicago for Dylan Cease. Swing and a miss. Grisham down on strikes. Take a look at the Padres defense. Hayward in left, Merrill in center, Tatis Jr. over in right. Infield, Machado, Bogarts, Wade, and Arise. That's third to first. Sheets is the DH, and Diaz is behind the plate catching King.
I wasn't digging the brown field right there. I'm sorry.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
You
I like our
like that color?
It's just brown didn't do it for me.
Well, I mean, remember the old Padre uniform was
how many
brown?
have they been through?
Yeah.
And then they went kind of blue and orange. And
these are kind of nice.
Yeah, these are. You don't know if it's raining or not. They look like they're wet all the time.
Driven out to left field. Going back is Hayward. He's going to play the ball off the wall. And Rice picks himself up another double. And that's going to bring up Aaron Judge. And how about this? Standout starts for 35 games. So Mickey had 56 hits in 56. Judge 55. He had 17 home runs at this point. Judge has 11. 39 ribbies to 33. 24 walks to 22. We bring that up. The only players with at least all those numbers through the first 35 games. And Mantle won the Triple Crown in that year. Is that ahead for Judge?
I think he got off to a pretty good start there. You saw those numbers. Wow.
You know, King said about facing Judge, I'm rooting for him every single time watching him swing the bat, but now I got to figure out a way to get him out.
He's rooting for him. He's just rooting in a different way right now.
Well, Judge has the respect of everybody in that room and probably had a great relationship with King, so from afar, he's loving what Judge is doing, but right now he has to get him out. 2-0 count on Aaron. Runner at second, one man out. We're in the bottom of the first. 3-0, in all likelihood, they turn Judge loose here.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think that Michael King doesn't realize that, too. You're not going to see a four-seam fastball right down the middle.
He did turn him loose. High fly ball, right center. Tatis is there on the track. He makes the catch. Tagging and moving to third is Rice.
Well, he did go with a fastball, but it was a sinker. You know, and that's the one that's really hard to kind of elevate enough. Aaron Judge just missed that.
Well, here's Cody Bellinger now with a runner on third and 2 outs. Bottom of the first inning. Bellinger in his last 11 games starting to pick it up a little. 10 for 39 and it's 256. He's at 202 overall. 4 home runs and 18 runs batted in.
And Michael, we talked about his crossfire delivery in the pregame, and you'll see he's so close, and that's what it makes that, you know, that arm angle coming around. It kind of hides the ball, but he can get a nasty breaking ball, and he's got that good sinker from that sidearm delivery, kind of crossfiring.
Backdoor breaking ball for a strike. Now 2-2 on Bellinger.
Again, it comes across and then just sidearm, but he gets a great 2-seam movement. Back out over the inside corner to lefties.
You know, for the longest time, Paul, teams would try to correct throwing across your body. They thought it was a recipe for an arm injury, but they're letting King be King because he's definitely stepping toward the third baseline and then throwing across his body.
And it hides the baseball, too. So, you know, everything plays up velocity-wise because you just don't see it as well.
Looped into center field, coming on Merrill. He's there to make the play. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left on base. We played one. It's 0-0 in the Bronx. Well, let's check out FanDuel's live same-game parlay. Will Dominguez record a hit? Wells, how about an RBI? Schmidt, 5 or more strikeouts. He has 1 through 1.
Michael, look at that. Is that blue sky over on the other side of the bridge?
Let's get some over here in the Bronx.
Hadn't quite made it across the river yet.
So Schmidt got into a little trouble in the first, but he pitched out of it. Second and third, 2 outs. Got Bogarts to ground to short. The pitch to Sheets is low pitch. Sheets was up as a pinch hitter yesterday. And then Camposano tried to score from third on a ball that didn't get that far away from Wells. And that was the final out of the 7th inning. And they wasted Sheets at bat.
You think Sheets was glad to get out. Sheets, this is 7th season, but his first in San Diego. Got out of the jail in Chicago. My goodness, they were 41 and 121 last year, Michael. That's fun to go to the ballpark, huh?
Worst record of all time. 1-2. Two on Sheets. And the 2-2. Shallow center, backpedaling is Volpe, then looks for the center fielder, and the ball drops. You knew there was trouble when he was looking for Grisham. And it's a base hit for Sheets.
Yeah, I think Grisham gave up on it, looking like Anthony Volpe was under it. And it might be the time of night where you kind of lose the baseball. I think when Anthony Volpe looked back up, couldn't find it. And at that point, you're in trouble. The way he went back and then started backpedaling that way, you see Grisham kind of gave up on the ball, and then it was a nowheresville.
Here's Jason Hayward. And Johnson said he went around.
You talk about the veteran there, Michael, on 15th season, 35-year-old guy's been with 5, 6, 7 teams.
And was that one of those teams, the World Series winning Cubs?
Yeah, 2016.
You remember, they were trailing, and then there was that late rain delay.
Yeah.
And he supposedly gave an impassioned speech as the team gathered in the room just off the dugout. You're familiar with that room at Progressive Field, and they came out as a different team. 2-1.
Looking back, Michael, I think that's where we really bonded. We did the Midge game, or what that the little bug game with Jabba.
We were together behind the plate.
Just hanging out in a golf cart, just, solving all the problems of life.
But when the midges hit, we hit the road.
That's right. Stayed in the tunnel.
We went inside. Well, the Yankees made a roster move today. Carlos Carrasco was designated for assignment. They called up Yerry De Los Santos, so we'll see if anybody claims Carrasco. If not, he has the right to go down to the Yankee minors, or he can become a free agent. Not quite sure what they do with that 5th starter position. Marcus Stroman, and you see the numbers on Carrasco. Marcus Stroman's still on the IL. So when that spot comes up, might be Friday in Sacramento against the A's, it could be Ryan Yarbrough, or they could decide to go another route. And it could be Carrasco if he clears.
Bring him right back.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just brought up De Los Santos to give them some bullpen maneuverability tonight. Another pop-up.
Volpe made sure he ran Cabrera off of this. You know, you always have priority, and shortstop have it. Cabrera right under, but Volpe said, "Nah, I'm taking this. Just get out of the way. I'm catching this one."
Another guy the Yankees could consider, Alan Winans, who's actually pitched well at AAA. Still up in the air. Here's Diaz. See, they turn 2 on this. There's 1. And there's 2. And around the horn, 5-4-3 double play. No runs ahead, no errors, and nobody left. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Well, it's time for Pinstripe Pride, brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. And tonight's picture is of Liam, who enjoyed a recent game and participated in the roll call out in the right field bleachers here at the stadium. You guys having a similar evening. Use the hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride. Mention yes in pictures you post to social media to reflect your love for the Bronx Bombers. We might spotlight you in a future game. He's making all the plays there. Count 1-0 on Dominguez. Dominguez a .306 hitter against righties, .083 against lefties. One of more. Last batter up in the game last night as a pinch hitter, ended up striking out against Suarez.
I was thinking when he walked to the plate, pouring down rain, pitching, heading off the hill. I mean, that's a fun night, right? Got throwing 100.
Suarez looked great. And once again, as we saw last night, Bogaerts is practically behind second base. He is right on the lip of being called for an illegal defense. You have to be on the shortstop side of second if you're the shortstop. Three and 2.
Well, you don't see that very often. Left-handed hitters bailing out, man. But that two-seam fastball that he throws at the lefty and runs it back. Tons of movement.
And Dominguez works a walk to start the second.
Well, we talked about Dominguez's speed, and he's got 3 stolen bases on the year. But works a walk. Try to get the Yankees going here. Bottom of the second.
You saw the line on Volpe. He has 20 RBIs on the season. That's the most of any American League shortstop. And a strike. Oh, and 2.
King not real happy with that pitch. A breaking ball. He usually gets tons of movement away. That kind of just sat there. Volpe not able to put it in play, but fouled it back.
You know, King is another in a line of pitchers that move out of the bullpen and become really good starters. Seth Lugo, Clay Holmes with the Mets has had a really good start as a starter. And teams look at it as a way, you know what? We've got a guy who pitches in the bullpen. We'll sign him for like a bullpen contract. And as a starter, he becomes a really affordable piece. King will not be affordable at the end of this year when he's a free agent. Now, King was asked, do you think about becoming a free agent? He said, no, I've got to do what I have to do. I have to do my job game to game. He said, then at the end, I'll hope that I get calls from 30 teams. And he watched Aaron Judge go through, and that's pretty much the way Aaron Judge approached it.
You got to have a lot of confidence as a player to do that, too. And, you know, you can't be worried about anything.
Another sinker that he ran back over the plate, just froze Volpe. But, you know, when you're out on the field, the last thing on your mind is a contract. But, you know, when you start reading in the paper and you start talking about it to the press, then you start thinking, you know, what you need to do and things like that. But it comes down to just what I've done to get to this point.
Austin Wells hammers one foul. So he's tied for fourth in wins since 24. Fifth in ERA, seventh opponents average against, and fifth in WAR. Grounded to first. Arise goes to second one. Back to King covering. It's a double play. 3-6-1. We'll go to the third. 0-0. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Tunnel to Towers. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at ttt.org. By your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com. And by Optimum Fiber. Get Optimum, the fastest fiber internet. Don't take slow for an answer. Southern tip of Manhattan. City looks great.
It's almost like one of those filtered pictures, you know, you make look better. It's pretty cool.
Now we go to the third inning. Tyler Wade will lead off against Clark Schmidt. Drew a big walk in the eighth inning yesterday against Devin Williams. Grounded foul. It'll be 9-1-2. Wade, Tatis Jr., and Arise.
Face mask here, but you know, Austin Wells doesn't use like the hockey gear. I mean, that's kind of the old school face mask. It actually rattles it off his face.
Brett Ausmus looking on, saying, yeah, I remember that. Has Wade down on strikes.
Good, just breaking ball after breaking ball, but he's got such a good one that he can throw it any time in the count, especially late in the count, to get a swing and a strikeout.
Back to the top of the order, and Tatis Jr. Grounded and knocked down by Volpe. There'll be no play. Base hit for Tatis. Once it got by Cabrera, Tatis was not going to be caught.
I think Cabrera drew leather on this, and then it slowed it down. So you weren't going to throw Tatis out. You're right, Michael. Once it got by Cabrera, I think this actually went off his glove and then into Volpe. Tatis runs well. He's got 8 stolen bases on the year already.
So here's a rise. You know, we talked yesterday about how batting average is not as valued as it used to be. This guy has won 3 straight batting titles, 3 straight teams, different teams. Now, he falls a little bit under the category that is valued because the thinking in the analytic world is if you have a high batting average, it sacrifices other things that are important. But with the rise, he walks a lot. So in his career, Paul, he's got a 370 on-base percentage. You can't sneeze at that. You're getting on base. It's important.
Yeah, he doesn't strike out. He puts the ball in play. And, you know, he's a tough out, especially with runners in scoring position and setting the table for some of the guys behind him. I mean, I always like the diversity of lineups. A couple 300 hitters, a couple power hitters, a couple guys with speed. Then I think you've got a baseball team.
Slap the other way, foul. with 3 different teams at all is in the 1800s. Hall of Fame first baseman Dan Bruthers won 5 between 82 and 1892 with the Bisons, the Bean Eaters, the Reds, and the Grooms, now the Dodgers.
So the Bisons and the Bean Eaters, that's professional baseball we're talking about.
Yep. Well, the Bean Eaters are now the Braves. The Bisons no longer exist. I guess the Boston Reds became the Red Sox, and then the Grooms are the Dodgers. Cabrera shovels the second one on the face. Nicely turned double play. No runs, a hit. No errors, and because of the DP, nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Well, suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, hoodies, t-shirts, and more. Visit MLBshop.com, the official source for your Yankees gear. Cabrera, Bibas, and Grisham. 8, 9, and 1 in the Yankees order. Bottom of the 3rd. 0-0. Cabrera 0 for his last 9. Average dip from 291 to 261. And didn't get a start yesterday against Pavetta, right-hander. But back in the lineup against King, and he fouls it off 1-1. We found out that Boston Reds are defunct. That is not the team that came before the Boston Red Sox. So the Boston Reds that Dan Bruthers won that batting title with, they no longer exist in any way, shape, or form. 1-2. Fly ball. Hayward makes the play. Let's take a look at King's arsenal on StatCast 3D by Google Cloud.
A lot of hard stuff. Sinker in the 4-seamer. He does throw his changeup, and he does have a great slider against righties. But a lot has to do with his delivery and just how good his sinker is right now.
Bibas takes a strike. Love that song, Beat La Vida.
I'm glad you're in tune tonight, man. You hear the songs in the background and everything. Right on my Spinners thing through the scouting report, too. Wow.
Come cooking up something special with HexClad. Join the hybrid revolution at hexclad.com. Lefty batters at 218 against them. Righty batters at 159. 7 lefties in the lineup. One of them just dumps one into left field, but coming on and making the play is the veteran Hayward. Took a base hit away from Bibas.
Well, that's one thing Hayward has done his whole career. 5 gold gloves to his name over his career. Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to slide into a play than, kind of shoestring it. It looks like the case right there.
I know somewhere David Cohn is watching this game.
Well, I watch. Yeah, well, sometimes, like I said, it's just a little easier to keep the vision of the ball by just sliding in.
Grisham fouls it off 0-1. Grisham struck out in the first inning. Got off to a great start, forcing the Yankees to have him in the lineup almost every single game. Good change, 1-2. Has a wide assortment of weapons, King does. Rice on deck.
The reason that changeup is so effective to lefties is because it has the same movement as his 2-seam fastball and same spin, but just take the velocity off of it and then chase a fastball up in the strike zone that you can't catch up to.
Hayward makes the play. He makes all 3 putouts here in the 3rd inning, tying a record held by many. And one of those plays was against Bebas. Yeah, I see you. We go to the 4th. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Delta, the official airline of the New York Yankees. Delta, keep climbing. Pitchers duel as we go to the 4th inning. Clark Schmidt against Michael King. Manny Machado will lead off the 4th inning. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 for the Padres against the Yankee right-hander. Coors Light beating the pressure. Machado through age 32. 3rd in the majors in home runs, 4th in ribbies, 6th in hits, and pretty darn good in WAR as well. That Machado was going to opt out of his original deal with the Padres and become a free agent, but Padres blew him out of the water with the extension as he lines that one to left field, the base hit. In February of 23, he signed an 11-year, $350 million extension that goes through his age 41 season, and there's a no-trade clause with no opt-outs.
Well, he's still quick inside. He gets jammed a little bit, but watch, his bat stays through the zone a long time, which gives him an opportunity to make solid contact. His 2-seamer running in, and he just cuts it off a little bit, gets jammed. A great swing.
Here's Jackson Merrill. You know, talking about contracts, the Padres took a chance with him. They decided to start him in center field last year as a 21-year-old. In April of last year, he signed a 9-year, $135 million extension. That takes him through the 2034 season, the team option for 2035. So you think about what the Padres did. They locked him up until he's at least 30 at a reasonable cost. They gambled that he was going to be the real deal. And last year, Paul, he showed he's the real deal, and they signed him before he did.
Yeah, I mean, he came up as a shortstop, playing shortstop in the minor leagues, and then, you know, just took into center field, and he's done a great job there. And, yeah, we went over his numbers. 294, 24 home runs, and 90 RBIs as a rookie. Other than Skeens, he would have been Rookie of the Year.
Tatis Jr. said he definitely deserves it. I can't wait to play 9 more years right next to him. Former first-round pick, 27th overall in 2021. Very aggressive at the plate, 3-2. One thing the Padres have done, they're very aggressive in promoting top prospects. They did that with Tatis in 2019, C.J. Abrams in 2022. Just a couple of examples. Grounded and threw for a base hit. They had him shifted as a pull hitter, and he just took it the other way, a single. So first and second, nobody out. Second hit for Merrill.
Yeah, it looked like a backdoor breaking ball, and he just went with it. And you put it in play, especially against the shift. There's going to be some holes somewhere. A couple good at-bats after just coming off the IL. Anxious to get back. I'm sure got off to a tremendous start we talked about in the first 10 games of the year. hitting over 370, and then come down with a hamstring injury, and he's been out ever since. You got Bogaerts, who knows how to handle the bat. He will go all over the field to the right side, but if you're Schmidt, somehow, some way, you'd love to keep him on the ground. Give yourself an opportunity for a double play.
I misspoke about the Merrill extension. It actually happened this April after he put together that great season. So it happened this April, and they signed him. And it's a great contract for the Padres. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, the first team I remember doing that, Michael, were the Indians. Remember where they had they had like 4 or 5 guys that they just put stock in. And, you know, they had some championship years, the playoffs year after year by doing that.
And it's a gamble, because if the guy doesn't turn out to be, but at least the Padres had in the bank the year he had last year before they signed him. And, you know, it's a gamble also for Merrill. If he continues to be this player, Paul, he's undervalued.
Sure. But you know what? There is something to be said about, you know, as when I grew up or you grew up, knowing who's going to the position every night. You know, you've got players together for numerous years, and you know, it's an easier way for a fan base to really root for a team.
So a 3-2 count on Bogaerts as Schmidt gets the call on the outside corner. 3-2, first and second, nobody out. Fly ball. Bellinger puts it away for the first out.
Well, good job by Schmidt to come back in this count and get a big out. And he did it with breaking balls. So he didn't challenge Bogaerts. 3-1 breaking ball, 3-2 breaking ball.
So here is Sheets. Sheets was actually on the 41 and 121 White Sox. Signed a minor league deal with the Padres in February. Made the team out of spring training. Got off to a great start. And Paul, he credits the Padres coaches and the sports science staff with showing him biomechanical data that cleaned his posture, got it moving in a better direction where I can fire off my ace swing.
Well, that's really breaking it down.
1-0. So Schmidt laboring here a bit in the fourth inning. Padres have had base runners in each inning, 2 in the first, 1 in the second and third. Second and third both were erased with the double play. And now 2 here in the fourth with 1 out, first and second. Three and 0.
Yeah, pitching behind is not what Clark Schmidt wants to do. He cannot really expand the zone with that breaking ball when he's always behind in the count.
And he walked him on 4 pitches. So the bases are loaded for Jason Hayward. Now Blake will come out and try to settle down Schmidt.
A fast and reliable connection backed by a 100% U.S.-based workforce. So you get the best customer service experience possible. Spectrum.
So Schmidt working on 8 days rest. He's doing some of the talking, and Blake's doing a lot of the listening. That's got to be a nice picture for the Yankee organization right there. All the guys that were on the mound have come up through the system. Now, they got Bibas obviously in a trade, but he's been marinating in the system. Cabrera, Volpe, Bibas, Rice, Wells, and Schmidt, all of them out of the Yankee system. That's a picture the
of the
organizational group might want up in Tampa.
Absolutely. Oh, it's a balk.
A balk. And Schmidt doesn't understand. He's asking the second base umpire for some clarity, and here comes Boone. Maybe didn't come to a set, Paul?
Yeah, that's what he's saying, I'm sure. But, you know, it's a shame because it was strike one.
And they called it right away.
I guess he never really stopped. He was kind of rotating and moving. I don't know.
I don't know if it was egregious, I'll tell you that.
No.
It probably differed from all the other times he came to a set. Yankees bring the infield in. Padres lead 1-0. The pitch to Hayward is outside.
Yeah, you really got to recover here because you can't give up a huge number in this inning the way King is throwing the ball on the other side.
Fly ball, left center. Catch is made by Bellinger. Merrill tags the throw, not in time. A sac fly for Hayward, and now it's 2-0 San Diego.
Look at the second base. You know, he's kind of talking to the home plate umpire and kind of figuring out what he's doing wrong.
It's almost like he was predicting it, though.
Yeah.
Waiting for it to happen. It's a little odd.
I always said, Michael, the 50,000 people are all here to see him. You know, it's just the way it is.
And a strike to Diaz. Nothing. San Diego. We're in the top of the fourth inning. Popped up. Bibas on the outfield grass makes the play. 2 runs, 2 hits, a balk, and 1 man left. Well, fans, the Gotham Sports app is your new home for streaming live Yankees games and so much more. And it's free with an eligible TV provider subscription. Download the Gotham Sports app now or visit GothamSports.com to get streaming. All right, so Michael King now has a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It'll be Rice, Judge, and Bellinger. Cadillac scoreboard 2-0 Padres, and the first pitch is a strike. Grounded softly, right side. And the play is made at first. Arise tosses to King.
Well, this was chopped, and Ben Rice knew he had no room for error. He had to catch this, get rid of it, and lead Michael King. Everything was done right. So they got Ben Rice at first base.
Here's Judge. Flied out to right in the first inning. Judge had his 14-game hitting streak snapped last night, but he did get on base with a walk, extending his on-base streak to 31 straight.
Well, he just missed a ball at 3-0 count earlier in the game. Just missed that ball to right center.
So yesterday was the Yankees' 35th game. And Judge reached in 79 of 157 times he came to the plate. A .503 on-base percentage. The only people in Yankee history that have a higher on-base percentage after 35 games, Mickey Mantle had a .523, and Paul O'Neill had a .563.
What was that?
563
ahead of Mickey Mantle or something?
Yeah, you were right there with Mickey.
I know my number was bigger, but that was the only thing I thought that I was ever bigger than Mickey Mantle.
You know, I look at, Judge is having such an unbelievable season, and we get all the comms in Yankee history, and your 94 season keeps coming up. And I'm wondering, as King delivers the 1-2, did you realize how special it was going through it? Or do you realize it more now when we keep saying these things?
I think you realize it more now, because when you're going through it, you're just every single day you're just trying to continue to do what you do mentally, physically. And believe me, it was a fun time, because there were times where I just going to the plate, you just knew you were going to hit a ball hard, whether it was going to fall or not. You just knew you were going to hit it hard somewhere.
Now, you told me something interesting yesterday, that it became a burden being over 400 going into June because everybody wanted to talk to you about it, and that might be one of the things. Here's the 2-2. Driven out to right field and deep. Tatis back. He's on the track. He leaps. See ya. A home run. Judge with his 12th of the year. It's 2-1 Padres. And a nice catch by the fan.
Well, Michael, I didn't want to go out on a limb, but you just had a feeling Aaron Judge was going to get one, because he just missed one his first time up. Michael King got ahead of him in the count, but you can always stay on the ball here in Yankee Stadium if you're Aaron Judge.
Homers, 34 ribbies. Has now reached base safely in 32 straight games. One and 0.
Four-seamer just started to paint the outside corner, but Aaron Judge ready for it. And if Aaron Judge gets anything on it to right field, it's gone.
What a start to his season. And there's ball 4.
This could be almost any highlight of the year. I continually talk about how he puts himself in the same position when the ball is in the hitting area, which gives him such a good opportunity to adjust to the baseball as far as pulling it or going the other way.
Well, with that home run, he's now 415, and getting back to what we were talking about, you said that the constant scrutiny is going to derail people, and it actually actually affected you after a while.
Yeah, it killed me for a while. I told you, I went 0 for 23 after that big meeting with the media when it seemed so easy, and then all of a sudden it seemed impossible because you're talking about what you can't do, and all you're trying to do is just take the field and just continue to play the way you're playing.
Here's Dominguez. Hit sharply and past the diving Wade and into right field. Bellinger goes to third. The first sails over the head of Irvin. He bounces into the seats, allowing Bellinger to score and Dominguez to go to second. And the game is tied at 2.
Boy, Bellinger got a tremendous jump. I didn't think Tatis was going to have any shot. He has got a strong arm. But Michael King late getting over there. A break for the Yankees. I mean, this ball is actually in the gap. Well, he comes over and just makes a bullet throw. And he gets away from Machado, and Michael King not there. It's going to be a first base hit and an error on the right fielder. You see the ball kind of tails up, and then all of a sudden Machado can't go because Bellinger's sliding. Well, first of all, that ball was hit hard. Well, he's got a place to be on the baseball field, and now Aaron Boone. What are we arguing about now, Michael? You get he thinks it possibly could have been a double, then you get another base with the overthrow?
I can only guess. I couldn't imagine what else he would be talking about right now. But he seems satisfied with the answer he got. I don't think there's any way Dominguez would have been going to second. But he's at second now for Volpe, and that's fouled away.
Oh, well, by Clark Schmidt saving that last run, last inning. All of a sudden, a couple hits and an overthrow, and now you've got a tie game. So it just goes to show you stay away from the huge inning. You give your offense an opportunity to fight back, and the Yankees have done that immediately.
1-1. Getting back to Judge for a moment, Paul. So Jason Stark, highly respected writer, writes for The Athletic, actually wrote a story today. Said that Aaron Judge could be the greatest right-handed hitter of modern times. And he breaks out numbers to back up his claim.
I mean, we've said it time and time again, and it's not just saying it because we're up here watching. The things Aaron Judge does on a baseball field, you just have not seen a lot of. And it becomes so natural for him because of his size, his strength, his ability to hit home runs, but also his ability to play the outfield, his ability to hit over 300 or 400 at this point. I mean, it's just a total package.
Well, this is the thing that jumped out at me, Paul. So according to Jason, 4 seasons of averaging 60 home runs per 162 games. And producing runs at a rate more than double the league average. (3-2). Fly ball right field. Tatis back. Makes a play on the track. Tagging and moving to third is Dominguez. And he also goes on to say that this could be the greatest 450-game stretch that we've ever seen of any hitter. Any right-handed American League or National League power hitter of the past 100 years. That's what we're seeing on an everyday basis.
Yeah, it's not hard to argue. I mean, it's amazing to me, his consistency and his confidence. It's who he is right now in this game.
One. Go ahead, run at third base. That's Dominguez. 1-1 count on Wells. Judge home run, a walk by Bellinger, a single by Dominguez, a throwing error by Tatis. We're all tied. The 2-1. Popped up on the left side. Machado drifts back and foul territory and makes the play. But the Yankees tie the score. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 out, and 1 man left. And it started with that man. Aaron Judge, his 12th home run, his 34th ribby. The magical start to a season continues. Well, this year marks Yogi Berra's 100th birthday, and the Yankees have a special giveaway to help commemorate it. On Friday, June 6th, first 18,000 guests receive a special Yogi Berra U.S. Navy bobblehead that recognizes his military service, courtesy of State Farm. Tickets going faster. Get your tickets today at Yankees.com.
I can only imagine what Yogi would say if he saw his little bobblehead. Hey, it looks like me. Something, huh?
And there's a strike to Wade. So the Yankees pick up Schmidt right away, get the 2 runs back.
So I'm thinking about that play, Michael, and it's coming to my mind. I think if he had rounded first,
right,
then he's going to get, because the ball went into the well, Wade goes to the left side, a little base hit, then he would get second and an extra base. But I don't think Dominguez had hit first base yet, so he only gets the 1 base.
You don't think that he'd have to offer to go to second? I mean, everybody rounds first.
If he gets around first, then he's granted second and third because the ball went into the camera well. But I don't know that he was at first base yet. These are just questions that come up, Mike.
Tatis fouls it away. Well, it's something to think about, but I'm sure we're looking for a replay right now, but I find it hard to believe he wasn't at first base by the time the ball was fielded.
By the time Tatis, let go of the ball. That would be my question, and I'm sure that's what Aaron Boone is questioning also.
Well, here's the overhead look. This will tell us. He definitely rounded before the play was made.
It's close, there's no doubt. Tyler Wade, good speed on first base. There has been an issue lately. I think it's more on the Yankee pitchers than on Wells. At a lot of stolen bases in the Tampa Bay series. A couple last night. But Austin Wells has to be given an opportunity. And, you know, if you get too good of a jump, that opportunity's out the window.
Fly ball left center. Bellinger makes the play in front of Grisham. And Wade heads back. So here's Luis Ariz. 0 for 2, wrapped into a double play last time up. Rice holds on Wade at first. And a strike. Odd to see a rise under 300. He's at 292. So you know there's a lot of hits to follow.
Yeah, he's hit some balls hard in this series. Last night, I remember Bellinger taking away a hit. Judge took away a hit tonight. As a hitter, obviously, you cannot aim it.
Now, Ariz missed 6 games with a concussion. He had a frightening collision at first base with Mauricio Dubon of the Astros on April 20th. I mean, if you saw that, it was ugly. But coming off the IL, including tonight, he's 8 for 26, so actually hitting well, but he did miss those 6 games. He said he had a lot of headaches. He said he forgot a lot of things as well, but now he remembers them.
Well, that was a close play. The only problem is that's the second time he's gone over there, huh?
Ooh, very close.
I think they're going to review this. They might have had him.
He takes a lead like that tomorrow against Max Fried. He's walking back to the dugout.
He might be walking back right now. I think he's out.
Yeah. The Yankees are challenging.
It's a really, really good find for the Yankees there. I mean, all in all, it looked like a close play. But, yeah, it looks like they got him.
Challenge replay is brought to you by Citizens Made Ready.
To tag right on the backside, right before Wade's hand got to the bag.
Got him. Right there.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is out. New York retains their challenge.
Good call by Brett Weber, who monitors this inside for the Yankees. He's one of the best to do it. And when he says challenge, they usually win. So 2 down. 0-2 count on a rise. Good tag by Rice. Swing and a miss. Hard to strike out a rise, but he goes down on that one. No runs a hit, no errors, and nobody left. We're halfway through. It's 2-2. It's time to name that Yankee. Brought to you by Prevagen. Made for your brain. 86 wins, 3.67 ERA, 1,582 strikeouts. So 10 years with the Cubs. Couple of years with Cleveland, 1 year with the Yankees, and then back to the Cubs. Got to be a relief pitcher.
I might have this. Let me see. I didn't get it, Mike.
You didn't get it?
No, it was.
Cabrera leads off the bottom of the 5th inning, 2-2 game. 7 hits for the Padres, 3 for the Yanks. Pitch up and away.
I saw Cleveland and I saw the Yankees, and I thought Ossenmacher, but no, that was way before, because the Yankees were, what, 2010?
2010. Ripped to right field. Tatis on the run, and he makes the play.
I'll tell you what, Tatis can really run the outfield. He made a little wild throw the last inning, but boy, he got to this ball. This ball is over the head of most right fielders. He is athletic, can do a lot of things on the field.
Here's Bebas. I just got it, Paul.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Write it down.
The thing that's surprising is the amount of wins when you consider how great this guy was at one point.
Oh, got it.
The 1-2. 2-2. fly ball left field. Now, since we're talking about history, Paul, this is the anniversary of one of the great trades in Yankee history, and it doesn't really get enough notice. You know, trades between the Red Sox and Yankees, Babe Ruth, Sparky Lyle. In 1930, on this date, Boston traded Red Ruffing to the Yankees for Cedric Durst and $50,000. Ruffing went on to win 231 games for the Yankees and 6 World Series.
Wow.
I mean, what a trade.
50 grand's a lot of money back then, though, too.
Yep. And Durst ended up playing 1 year and then they retired. Red Ruffing, Hall of Famer. Wade gets Grisham, and that'll do it as the Yankees go down in order against King. We'll go to the 6th.
Bob Lorenz with your Audi update. Rangers and Red Sox. Brett Boone's first game as the Texas Rangers' new hitting coach, and Bruce Bochy and he like what they see. Top of the 4th after a Corey Seager double. Jock Peterson one-hops the wall for a double of his own. Part of a 2-run inning. Texas has scored 6. They lead Boston 6-0 in the 5th, guys.
Boy, you get 6 early and your new hitting coach, you feel pretty good about life.
Yes, absolutely.
It's interesting, though. It seems like the hitting coach takes the blame when hitters don't hit, rather than the hitters getting the blame. How much does the hitting coach have to do with it?
Well, I think a hitting coach can help, obviously, mentally as much as they can physically. I mean, you're so grooved on swings. Every once in a while, mechanically, you get a little out of whack. But it's the mental part of every single day that you need to be, kind of reinforced, put your thoughts in the right spot and things like that. So, hitting coach is an art, just like a pitching coach, just like any other part of the game. Some guys are just better at others.
I'm glad for Brett Boone, obviously, but, somebody lost their job because the Texas Rangers hitters weren't hitting up to their expectations.
So, Michael, you gave me the stat last inning about Red Ruffing.
Right.
And said $50,000.
Which is a lot of money.
And, it's a lot of money now. But if you do the math, and all has gone since back then, it's over $957,000 in today's market.
That's pretty good.
That's a lot of money.
But then if you consider what they paid for Babe, Babe was $100,000, and with interest it turned out to be $125,000. So that's well over $1 million. Popped up, middle of the infield, everybody converging. Cabrera makes the call and the catch. Now we're talking about Brett Boone, the new hitting coach for Texas. Now, Justin, you talked to his brother Aaron about that, right?
Yeah, Aaron was asked about the Rangers' new hire. He said that the hire caught him off guard a little bit. Aaron said that Brett told him about it when he was on his way back home from the Yankees welcome home dinner over the weekend, and that Bruce Bochy called him. So everything happened really quick, kind of out of nowhere. Nothing that he was expecting in terms of Brett Boone. So Aaron said he's excited for Brett. He thinks that his brother's in a really good place in his life, and he thinks that he has a ton to offer those players in Texas.
Well, kept it quiet.
Yeah, that surprises me. He really it hadn't been going on for a long time. And, if you catch your brother by surprise, I guess you catch everybody by surprise.
I wonder if he had to get out of his podcast deal that quickly.
Yeah, he had a pretty good podcast. And when he would have you on as a guest, you were on for a long time.
I was just going to say, he called me up. I said, I got about 15, 20 minutes. That's okay. Oh, yeah, no problem. Well, I don't know, 4 hours later, I'm like, Brett, are we about ready to can this thing? I'm out of ammo here.
Merrill goes down on strikes. Let's go around the majors, see what's going on. So Corbin Carroll, 10 home runs in 35 games this season. His career high 25, so obviously ahead of that pace. Sandy Alcantara's really struggling in 7 starts, 8.42 as he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. Teoscar Hernandez placed on the 10-day IL with a left groin strain. He was off to a really good start for the Dodgers. Pretty good start here for Clark Schmidt. 2 outs into the 6th inning. He faces Xander Bogaerts. And there's a ground ball to Volpe. Waits for the hop. And a 1-2-3 inning for Clark Schmidt. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 2-2. Well, let's check out the T-Mobile coverage cam. You're all going to love this. So Judge hits the home run, right? And the kid in green makes a great catch. Now he celebrates. The ball drops out of the glove. Watch the guy in the gray jersey. I'm going to take this and put this right in my pocket.
Nobody saw it.
Nobody saw it. Now he gave it to his buddy, and then his buddy finally gave it back to the kid in green's friend. And it was time for a baseball selfie, and everything was good. I just love the casual way.
Oh, just kind of stuff.
Nobody will see this.
Nobody will. Only the yes cameramen saw it.
T-Mobile coverage camera. If we didn't have that, he might have gotten away with it. Here's Ben Rice to lead off against Michael King. Rice with a double in the first, grounded to first in the fourth. High fly ball, right field. Tatis goes back. He's on the track, and he'll make the play. You know, Paul, we talked about Babe Ruth, right? Mm-hmm. On this day in 1915, Ruth hit the first home run of his career. And it was against the Yankees, a guy named Jack Warhop. But here's the best part. At the Polo Grounds, right? Ruth started that game. Not only did he hit his first home run, he pitched 12 1/3 innings. A complete game loss. So that's not happening again.
Probably came into relief the next day, too. Yeah, that's not happening again. Wow.
Only had 713 after that.
Wow.
Leader is brought to you by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. A 500 more on-base percentage through 35 games. There's only 3 guys. Judge, Mantle, and a guy named O'Neill.
Eesh.
You've been living in some high company there, man.
I didn't live there very long. They're in there every year.
Now, we've been doing this so long together, I sometimes forget I'm sitting next to royalty here.
Yeah.
5 World Series championships.
I'm starting to blush here, Mike.
Batting title.
When I get a compliment from you, I just know we've been around together too long.
Soft ground ball to short. Bogarts. Four-time world champion with the Yankees, won with the Reds, batting championship in that year that we've been talking about, 4-time All-Star, 185 home runs, 10 in the postseason. Every home run, he just ducked his head and just ran around the bases.
Yeah.
And they've got the bouncer there at Club 21. 2 of them. Bellinger fouls it away.
You know, we've been talking a lot about history and big names, and, you know, the Padres 1969 expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, they were the Padres. Ted Williams actually signed with them. They were part of the Pacific Coast League, which was a huge league, a professional league out on the West Coast before baseball was baseball out there, which I thought, you know, Joe DiMaggio played in San Francisco.
San Francisco Seals, yep.
So it was kind of a third league behind the American League, the National League. Then you had the Pacific Coast League. It was a really weird time where, you know, professional baseball was not out there.
I believe Joe D had a longer hitting streak with the Seals, and he ended up with the 56 games with the Yankees.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was over 60 games. 61.
Wow. That's after he worked the kitchen at DiMaggio's down on the wharf or something, right?
2-2. Bellinger does not love that call. Bellinger 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored.
I think he thought that was up in the strike zone.
Served the other way, but slices foul.
And we talked last night about trying to make adjustments with 2 strikes, and you know, that's a 2-strike swing from Bellinger. You know, just trying to slap the ball, put the ball in play, give yourself a chance. Just a little bit foul there. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th. 2-2 game.
And Bellinger works at full. Foul ball. Is it kind of humorous to you? We keep talking about your exploits, and I know you're very humble about it. And you almost get shy about it. That there's a generation of Yankee fans that know you as an announcer more than the guy who did that.
There's people that come up. You're on the road. There's never a day, and you go through the same thing. There's never a day. I don't care where you are. Somebody tell you doesn't talk about the Yankees.
Right.
And anybody that's like 20 years or younger, you know they're talking to you.
Yeah, it happened with Phil Rizzuto. Grounded right side. Wade will get Bellinger.
Let's talk some Yankee baseball.
Let's do it.
All right,
as Kings retired 8 in a row. It's time for pitching decisions presented by Sage. We take a look at Clark Schmidt.
Well, you're going to take a look at a good night. Clark Schmidt had it going. The breaking ball. We know that he can strike out people with that breaking ball. 85 pitches, 6 innings, a couple runs, only 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and 17 out of 23 first pitch strikes. So a good bounce back start for Clark Schmidt.
And now the Yankees turn to Tim Hill as we start the 7th inning. And the first batter will be the lefty swinging Gavin Sheets.
All I can remember is, Michael, we did the parlay earlier in the game, and we needed 5 strikeouts from Clark Schmidt. We only got 4.
Huh? Well, it's called gambling.
That's called losing money is what it's called. Boy, do you feel good when you win, though, right?
It's a better feeling than losing. Sheets lines one to left field, the base hit. So he gets a single against the lefty. He's 2 for 2 with a walk.
Well, you see that sidearm delivery. The sinker is supposed to have, down in the zone. It's up. I always thought it was much easier to see the ball from lefties up in the strike zone for some reason. Just kind of stay inside and just go the other way, as Sheets did.
Oscar Gonzalez will pinch hit for Hayward. And a strike.
Good thing is Tim Hill gets so many ground balls that he's only 1 pitch away from a double play at all times.
Well, support America's military and first responder heroes. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, T2T.org.
Hayward was on the on-deck circle, Michael. So if Sheets doesn't lead off with a hit, he might hit. But, now that, you get a runner on with nobody out, then you send the pinch hitter up.
You saw Fernando Cruz warming for the Yankees. He threw 2 pitches yesterday and got his out at home plate as a runner tried to score from third on a ball that didn't get that far away from Wells. Gonzalez now on pitch after pitch. Take a look at the Yankee bullpen budget brought to you by Citizens. Make sense of your money with Citizens. A lot of action yesterday. You would think that most everyone's available. People could pitch 2 days in a row. Popped up. Rice puts it away.
I think back to Clark Schmidt, one hurdle that he got over last year when he really started pitching well is I think he got it out of his mind that, he was 5 and fly every time up. A nice piece of hitting right there by Diaz. But, tonight going with 85 pitches, getting through the 6th inning. You remember, it was almost a mental thing that, he would cruise through 5 innings and then all of a sudden things would start happening. Inside out at the other way. The big hole on the right side.
Well, with Tyler Wade due up, they're going to pinch hit. And they're going to send up the darling of last year's Met team, Jose Iglesias. He had the OMG song. He was a big part of what they did. So that move is announced. And then Aaron Boone is going to go to his bullpen. He'll take Hill out and bring on Cruz to face Jose Iglesias. So the Padres threatening first and second, one man out. Cruz comes on. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Untuckit. Find the perfect fit today at untuckit.com or more than 80 stores worldwide. By Nissan. At Nissan, we make cars that thrill. Experience the thrill for yourself today. Shop NissanUSA.com. And by Mohegan Sun. Something's always happening at Mohegan. Turned into a nice night here at the stadium. Some pressure on Fernando Cruz, who's had 10 consecutive scoreless appearances. He's been great. 28 strikeouts in 19 innings, sporting a 1.42 ERA. And he inherits first and second, one man out here in the 7th inning, and he'll face the pinch hitter, Jose Iglesias. And there's a strike. He had magic with the Mets last year, hit .337. Became a Latin pop sensation with his hit single OMG. But the Mets didn't seem to want to re-sign him. 0-2. Signed a minor league deal with the Padres in March. And made the team out of spring training. Supposedly a great clubhouse guy.
To sing in the clubhouse, Mike?
I guess.
Yeah.
Hit shortly and grabbed there by Volpe. Fires the second. Ball was dropped by Vivas. It wouldn't have been in time.
There's one of those bats, Michael, right here. You got Tatis Jr. up there. You got Cruz, who's been on a roll in a crucial situation here late in the game. Much more important to me for the Yankees. Obviously, the shutdown guys for the Padres in the last couple innings are something.
Well, getting into a bullpen game with the Padres is a little dicey. We told you they have not lost a game that they've led after 7 innings, so trying to keep them off the board right here. One 1-0 on Tatis, who's 1 for 3. 2-0.
Well, good job by Wells here, just to keep his chest in front of the ball, keep the ball in front of him.
So he can really bury you with that splitter, but he's down 3-0 on the count. Arises on deck.
Yeah, you got to be careful here. Obviously, Tatis is going to have the green light anytime he wants to swing the bat.
There's a strike. Driven into right center field, and that's going to be trouble. It gets down for a base hit. Sheets scores. Diaz will stop at third. It's an RBI double for Tatis, and San Diego leads 3-2.
Yeah, this was a tough position for Cruz to be in after falling down 3-0. He went with the fastball. Two-seamer just kind of stayed up. And Tatis just too good of a hitter in this situation not to make something good happen.
Went ahead in the count.
So he does his little signal while still on his back as he picked up his 19th ribby. That guy can play.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And now you got Arraez, who is a contact hitter. We saw a strikeout last time up, but chances are he's going to put the ball in play somewhere. You always have to be a little bit scared of that split finger in the dirt with the man on third base.
Second and third, 2 outs. One and 0.
Now this is when a lot of the damage is done for the Padres offensively. You've got Tatis leading off Arraez with Machado, and now Merrill in the 4 hole. So you're in a tough spot if you're Cruz right here.
Two and 0. So Arraez struck out against Schmidt in the 5th, and he had gone 43 plate appearances without a strikeout. He's up in the count 3-0. And he walked him. So at this point, Cruz does not have the command that we've seen out of him this whole season. And now he's got a tough customer, Manny Machado, who's lighter, warming up in a hurry. So Arraez was the 3rd batter that Cruz faced, so they could take him out if they choose.
Machado is good, and he's good at what he does, but you just can't give in to Arraez. He makes too much contact, and the singles were 2 runs with 2 men on. So you just take your chances here with one of the game's better hitters. He was able to get ahead with the splitty right there.
So 0-1 on Machado, 2 for 3. 0-2. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Swing and a miss. That splitter makes great hitters look silly. But the Padres take the lead. 1 run, 3 hits, and the bases are left loaded at the end of 6.5 innings of play. Padres 3, Yankees 2. But it's time for the 7th inning stretch as we stay right here and honor America in the Bronx.
And please direct your attention to the area behind home plate as the New York Yankees welcome an honored military guest. United States Marine Corps Sergeant Joseph Solinger from Westerville, Ohio, who served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Yankees say thank you, Joseph, for your sacrifice and service to our nation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in singing along with Robert Merrill's rendition of God Bless America.
for your Ford Studio update. Bob and Jack with you. Starting pitchers all square at 2 runs apiece. Like last night now, a battle of the bullpens.
Yeah, Schmidt and King both did their jobs, and now the Yankees are going to have to do their job offensively if they want to win this game and avoid a 4-game losing streak. The Padres go ahead in the 7th, but Bob, that Padres bullpen, it's been almost impenetrable this year. Best earned run average in Major League Baseball, comes in tonight with a 14 2/3 scoreless inning streak.
See if the Yankees can break through, and we'll see you on the post game, guys.
Thank you, Bob and Jack. 3-10-1 Padres, 2-3-0 for the Yankees. King went 6. Tatis 2 for 4 RBI double. Schmidt pitched well. Aaron Judge with his 12th home run. And now the Padres go to that vaunted bullpen. They're 23-0 and leading in the 7th inning or later. Gonzalez takes over in left field. Iglesias takes over at second base for Wade. And on the mound is Adrian Morejon. Good numbers, 1.56. 26 years old, 7th big league season. And Dominguez will turn around to the right side against the lefty Morejon. That one is lined into left center field. It is a base hit. Cutting over is Gonzalez. Going for 2 is Dominguez. He'll make it. The throw was wild. He put pressure on the outfield and turned it into a leadoff double.
Boy, a little off the end of the bat, but boy, there was no doubt from the box. Watch this. This is how you get a double, and that's sprinting from the box. He did not hesitate one bit. And I tell you what, I am so impressed with his speed. I mean, he just is making motor. That's a big hit right there, Michael. Now you got to get him in or get him over. One of the two. You got to try to tie this game up. Can't waste a leadoff double.
He was 3 for 36 before that double against lefty pitching. So it's a big hit for him. Here's Volpe. Foul bat. Well, the announced attendance here tonight, 38,090. And the Yankees just announced that puts them over 50 million fans that have attended baseball games here at the new Yankee Stadium, which opened in 2009.
Amazing. Huh?
50 million. Great fan base. Pitch inside. And that's just regular season games. A couple World Series in there.
Mm-hmm.
1-2. Wells on deck. Time runs at second base for the Yankees. They're down 3-2. The double, only the 4th Yankee hit. 2-2. Morejon has had a ton of injuries in his career. Shoulder in 2019, Tommy John surgery 2021, shoulder inflammation 2022, elbow sprain and knee inflammation 2023, but he's healthy now. He's been healthy since last year. Line drive, it's a base hit to center field. Dominguez held up, so he'll just advance to third. Hard single by Volpe. First and third, nobody out for the Yanks.
Yeah, great at bat by Volpe to hit it hard, and Dominguez had no option. I mean, this just out of the reach. Had to make sure that it hit the outfield grass, but now the Yankees, 2 men on. Got something going here in the bottom of the 7th. You know, when you try to stay inside the ball, see those hands, they stay inside the ball. Trying to move that runner over, you're still able to hit the ball hard. This ball driven right back up the middle. Great job by Anthony Volpe. Michael, I don't know, should I let this out? But I heard between the innings, Bob and Jack.
Right.
Said, guys, we'll see you on the post game. And I don't want to burst this bubble, but I don't watch the post game. We're in a car.
But here's the deal. They have pictures of us up.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, that motivates them.
Ah,
yeah,
very nice. I thought maybe you hung out here in the booth and watched the post game.
No, I'll be in the car heading home. If they need me, I'll hang around, but I'll be in the car.
I didn't want to, just saying.
So, respected pitching coach Ruben Niebla talks to Morejon. First and third, nobody out. Here's Wells. And the Padres going to play back. They're looking for a double play. They'll give up the run and let the Yankees tie the score on a DP ground ball. The Yankees looking for more. Ball's 0 for 2. And the lefty deals. Base hit, right field. Dominguez scores. Volpe will stop at second. Tatis comes up throwing. It's an RBI single for Wells. We're tied at 3.
Well, you can't say enough about these 3 quality at-bats leading off the bottom of the 7th here for the Yankees. Dominguez with a great double. Volpe with a great at-bat. The two-seamer didn't quite get there. Austin Wells hammers it in the hole. It's a good comeback inning for the Yankees. Good place a bunt right here. Move a couple guys over if you don't think you can go the other way.
And they have the wheel play on. The bunt is popped up and it is caught by Machado. That's the last thing they needed. Everybody was moving in that infield and Cabrera popped it up.
Again, you don't jab at a bunt, and then as soon as it's popped up, there's nothing you can do. You kind of just soften it. You just can't jab at it. You're right, Michael. That was an opportunity right there.
Simply a case of hitting the bottom of the ball.
There's a pretty good guy to come off the bench and hit. Paul Goldschmidt, 353 on the year, had the night off against King. But then a big situation here for the Yankees.
So Goldschmidt pinch hitting for Bibas. You know, the interesting thing, if the bunt was successful and they still sent up Goldschmidt, they'd walk him and they'd go lefty against lefty with Grisham. This way, he's going to get a chance to swing the bat. And he's so good against left-handed pitching this year. He's 18 for 30, Paul. That's 600 with 5 doubles and 3 home runs. Former Yankee Wandy Peralta warming up. They have 3 lefties in the bullpen. Morejon, Matsui, and Peralta. So here's Goldschmidt, the pinch hitter. They chase Volpe back to second. Runners keep dancing off, distracting Morejon. Three game, bottom of the 7th. One and 0. As a pinch hitter, and he doesn't pinch hit much because he's been an everyday player, just 2 for 22. So what wins out, pinch hitting or hitting against lefties? Work the count, 2-0. It's always tough when a regular player has a day off and comes off the bench. We've seen the pinch hitting numbers for Stanton. They're not very good.
No, it was one of the hardest things to do, no doubt about it.
Runners go. 3-0, double steal, no throw.
A great job by Volpe and Wells to go on the back end of this, and Goldschmidt too, taking all the way. Let these guys run over. Obviously, you've got a base open now, so Goldschmidt probably going to lose an at bat.
Well, Diaz is asking, you want to walk him? Yep, that's an intentional walk. So once they stole the bases, you kind of took the bat out of the hands of Goldschmidt. Now here comes Mike Schilt, and he's going to call on another lefty. It's going to be Wandy Peralta to face Trent Grisham. Yankees have the bases loaded with 1 out. The game is tied at 3. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Stay right where you are. It's time for the Optimum Don't Take Slow for an Answer replay.
It's Dominguez to lead off the inning. A hustle double right out of the box. Never hesitated to score runs. You got to start somewhere. And Dominguez started this inning.
All right, so now the former Padre, Trent Grisham, who's 0 for 3 tonight, going to face the former Yankee, Wandy Peralta, who has a 1.35 ERA this season. He's been the lower leverage third lefty behind Morejon and Matsui, but this is a big spot for him. Second season of a 4-year, $16.5 million deal. Very well liked with the Yankees. He performed very well out of the pen.
Well, if you remember him with the Yankees, he is not afraid to throw that changeup time and time and time again.
Aaron Judge called him, quote, the ultimate teammate. 165 games for the Yankees, Paul. He had a 2.82 ERA. Got a lot of big outs. Showed a lot of guts on the mound. Didn't scare easily.
Well, you go back to the 2022 ALDS. He pitched in all 5 games for the Yankees.
The 2-0. 3-0. There's no place to put Grisham. Ben Rice is on deck. Ball 4. Walked him on 4 pitches. That'll bring home Volpe when he touches home plate. The Yankees lead 4-3.
There were some close pitches, but they were balls. And Grisham, to his credit, did not leave the strike zone. The Yankees really just bounced back immediately, starting with Dominguez, and then Volpe and Wells just great at bats. Now you're trying to break this game wide open if you're Ben Rice.
Infield halfway. And there's a strike to Rice. Rice 1 for 3, doubled in the first. Grounded softly to first in the 4th. Fly ball right in the 6th.
Whole left side of the infield, Michael, is open if he just wants to try to push the ball the other way.
0-2. Grounded inside first and down the right field line. Wells scores. Goldschmidt scores. Grisham will stop at third. It's a big 2-run double for Rice. And the Yankees lead 6-3.
Well, that deserves a smile if you're Ben Rice, because that is a huge hit. All of a sudden, Yankees still things going here in the 7th. And now up by 3. Going to turn that over, kept it up in the strike zone, and Ben Rice hammers it, and it just stayed inside the bag. And by staying with it, he did not hook it foul. A huge, huge hit for the Yankees.
Well, with this double, first base is open, so Schilt goes, no, I'm not going to pitch to Aaron Judge, so he intentionally walks him to reload the bases. And it'll be Peralta, the lefty, against the lefty. Bellinger, the 9th Yankee to come to the plate. And we have a pinch runner as Peraza comes in to pinch run for Rice.
Yeah, he had Goldschmidt who pinch hit, so he'll probably just go to first base.
And Peraza will play second. Fouled away. A spirited comeback by the Yankees against a bullpen, as Jack Curry said, almost impenetrable of late. Line drive, right field. It is a base hit. Grisham scores. Moving to third is Peralta. Judge at second. An RBI single for Bellinger. And the Yankees pouring it on. Lead 7-3.
Well, the good at-bats just keep coming. Another one. A good pitch to hit. The Bellinger stays on it and just rips it to right field. Oh, ends up out over the plate. But that's a ball that you can't foul off. Put it in play, and Cody Bellinger did just that. Very little step against a lefty. In on the handle a little bit. But boy, it works.
Dominguez swings and misses against the Peralta change. The Yankees have not been slayed by the lefty-lefty matchups. Wells singled, Grisham walked, Rice doubled, Bellinger singled, and then Dominguez from the right side, he started with a double. Fly ball. Gonzalez makes the catch. Bluffing is Peraza, and the throw is cut off. 2 away.
Yeah, I thought possibly, with the 4-run lead that you could take a chance and make a perfect throw you out. Ball looked like it was heading towards up the line. It was cut off at the pitcher's mound. But you could take chances much more when you got a 4-run lead than a tie ball game.
Padres bullpen allowing 5 runs this inning. That's a high for a game this season. Here's Volpe. Volpe had a big hit following the Dominguez double at single to center. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Peraza is at third. Judge at second. Bellinger's at first. 2-0 on Volpe. 3-0 on Volpe. And taking all the way, there's a strike. Hit shortly and off the glove of Machado. A run scores. It's an RBI single for Volpe, and it's 8-3 Yankees.
That ball hit hard. Machado's just caught in the middle here, trying to kind of a short hop Olay play, and it just looked like it went off the heel of his glove, but kind of in between and stuck. A good job by the Yankees picking up another run. The ball actually stayed down where you expect it to kind of come up, and right off the heel of the glove, another run for the Yankees.
There's Wells. Bases remain loaded. 1-0. That has scored a hit, so Volpe 2 for 2 in the inning.
Michael, if you break this inning down, this might be the best string of at-bats you've seen from this team all year.
Fly ball left field on the run. Gonzalez into the corner, runs out of room.
Every single person that has gone up there has had pretty much a quality at-bat. Obviously, you've had big innings and you've had home runs, but just you have strung together just great at-bats, great situational hitting, and put up a 6 spot so far.
Now Matzik joins Leiter. Yankees with 6 runs in the 7th inning. Looking for more. Bases remain loaded. And they are very patient. They are taking that changeup from Peralta. Two and two. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Yankees 6 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks this inning. Wells, the 12th batter to come to the plate. Three and two. Runners go. Drill deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. A grand slam. The Yankees lead 12-3.
this off, Michael. I'm telling you, this is the best offensive inning that the Yankees have had all year as far as everybody that stepped foot to this plate put together a great at-bat.
Cabrera takes a strike.
Ball just kind of tailed back inside right to his barrel. He checked the box for his first grand slam.
I'll tell you what, this inning, Wells has had a week. That's 5 RBIs in the inning.
Yeah. Both off lefties.
Grounded to Machado. What an inning for the Yankees as they score 10 runs. It started with this. Dominguez with a fossil double. And then the hits, they just kept coming. Like a top 40 list. One after the other. Hit after hit. Big hit after big hit. Lefty against lefty. The Yankees pouring it on. And then the punctuation mark, a grand slam on the bat of Austin Wells. Yankees lead 12-3 on Yes. A 10-run 7th inning when the Yankees really needed it. And they lead 12-3. Goldschmidt takes over at first. And you saw Peraza at second. And Matzik takes over as the Yankees lead by 9.
Yeah, it's amazing. You didn't think, in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, you didn't think you'd say that. I'm like, the Yankees lead by 9? It's kind of a pitcher's duel.
And especially against this bullpen, we told you the numbers. They just don't lose when they lead after 7. And something very odd would have to happen for them to win this game. High fly ball, right field. Judge backs up. He's on the track, makes the play. Let's check out the Audi Electric Moment. Experience a fully electric Audi vehicle at your local Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Well, a little two-seamer kind of came back into him. But you know what? You'll always remember your first grand slam, as these fans will too. This place was going wild.
First time since July 28th of 2015 at Texas when they scored 11 runs in an inning. Here's Bogarts. I think the Padres have to be a little bit stunned. They have the second best record in baseball, and part of the formula has been their great bullpen. But the Yankees got to that bullpen like no one has all year. Oh, 2. Remember that commercial when we were growing up? I forget what it was for. Thanks, I needed that. The Yankees, thanks, they needed that.
What was it? You know what? It is. It was a gritty comeback. Then all of a sudden, it's become kind of one-sided. But, you gave up the run. And, after the tough loss last night, every once in a while, you just got to kind of bull your neck a little bit. And the Yankees certainly did.
And now you're going to be thinking about that commercial, what it was.
Needed that. Well, yeah, I'm going to be saying that. White Jack and Bob are doing the post game, and I'm driving home and be saying that in the car the whole way home.
How about this shot of the Wells home run? So how unusual was that inning against this bullpen? They had allowed 26 runs in 128 two-third innings before tonight. And in one inning, they allowed more than a third of that. They allowed 10 runs in the 7th inning. Well, a friend just sent what the commercial was.
Yeah, what is it?
Swing and a miss. It's a strikeout. The Menon skin bracer commercial.
Oh, you get slapped or something.
You go, thanks. I needed that. That's the 6th strikeout by Yankee pitching. 6 Yankee strikeout brought to you by Audi and the 2025 Audi Q6. Visit your local tri-state Audi dealer today. So Matzik against Sheets. And a strike. Good night for Sheets, 2 for 2 with a walk. Max Fried will start tomorrow and bring his 1.01 ERA into the game. Home Depot getting it done pitching matchup. Fried against Dylan Cease. Cease has struggled a bit, 5.61. But Fried, 1.01. The Yankees have won all 7 of his starts. He has 6 wins. And our coverage begins at 6:30 on Prime. Tomorrow's game is on Prime. The 0-2. Soft ground ball is short. Backing up Volpe, fires to first, and that'll do it. Matzik comes on and retires the Padres in order 1-2-3. Go to the bottom of the 8th. It's time to name that Yankee. Here are the clues. Good ERA, 86 wins, and he was around for a while. A lot of strikeouts, and that's the big clue. The answer is Kerry Wood.
Was it 20 strikeouts he had against
on this date?
On this date.
At that point, looked like he was, on a Hall of Fame arc with his stuff. But the arm gave out.
Yeah, that was Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor, right? Kind of came along at the same time there.
If I remember correctly, the first pitch of the game was 100 miles an hour, and the catcher missed it, and it slammed the umpire right in the mask. Here's Goldschmidt, and he fouls it off against Ryan Berger. Goldschmidt pinch hit in the 7th, then worked the count to 3-0. Then there was a double steal, so they intentionally walked him with the 4th pitch. .3 Yankees. Yerry De Los Santos is heating up. High fly ball into left center. Merrill drifts over. Will make the play. All right, so here are the rare feats in baseball and how rare they are. 20 or more strikeout games, just 6 of them. Unassisted triple plays, 15 of them. 4 home run games, 19. Perfect games, 24. 6 hit games, 173. No hitters, 326. Cycles, 350.
You know what?
Anything surprise you there?
Yeah, a lot. The cycles and that many perfect games compared to, only 6, 20 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ground ball to first off the bat of Grisham. Arise takes it to the bag.
So out of those 6, Roger Clemens did it twice.
Yep. I think, what was it, 20 years apart? Maybe 10 years apart? 10 years apart, yeah.
I think Coney had 18 or 19.
19. Tonight's injury report brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the Yankees. LeMahieu rehab game tonight postponed. Scheduled to play tomorrow at AAA. Could be activated this weekend in Sacramento against the A's.
He looked mad. The game got postponed. He looked mad on the graphic. That wasn't a smiley pose. Did you notice that?
Peraza, who pinch ran for Rice in the 7th. Lost one to right center. Merrill runs it down. Yankees go down in order 1-2-3. We'll take it to the 9th. The Yankees are up by 9. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees, and by Delta, the official airline of the New York Yankees. Delta, keep climbing. Well, fans, happens after the final out. You get highlights, and there's plenty of them. Analysis, a lot of that. Clubhouse interviews, many. And we'll hear from Aaron Boone on the Manager's Report. That's all coming up on the W.B. Mason Yankees postgame.
And, Michael, I'm in now because Bob Lorenz he reminded me I can get that on the Gotham app in the car on the way home.
There you go, right?
See that? Multitask.
Bob, what a guy. Gonzalez will test out Reyes in right field, and that falls untouched in foul territory.
All right, Michael, it's 12-3, so we need to throw a fun fact out there. We were talking about the strikeouts.
The 20 strikeouts. 20
strikeout games. One of them was a little skewed. Tom Chaney had 21 strikeouts, but it was a 16-inning game. But
that was in 1962.
Yeah, so let's take the other 5. There's 100 strikeouts in those games. Roger Clemens did it twice. Kerry Wood did it once. Randy Johnson, Matt Scherzer. Now, the fun fact is, out of those 100 strikeouts in those games, no walks.
Amazing.
Not one walk in any of those games.
Gonzalez grounds out. Check out the upcoming schedule brought to you by your local Tri-State Buick dealers. One more game against the Padres. Looks like it's going to be the rubber game. It'll be on Prime. Coverage begins at 6:30. Thursday, travel day. Yankees will go to Sacramento to start a 3-game set against the A's. And then the Mariners, 3 games in Seattle. The A's and the Mariners 1-2 in the West. So those are not gimme games. And then the Mets next weekend will come in for the first Subway Series. Grounded to third, Diaz. Cabrera makes the play.
Seattle off to a great start, and they're hitting the ball. They've always been able to pitch. James, what's the Sacramento field? Is it a hitter's ballpark? Are they saying anything about it?
And that'll bring up Iglesias. So Yeri De Los Santos is in, trying to get the final 3 outs. They put on the roster today when the Yankees designated Carlos Carrasco for assignment. Sacramento is considered hitter-friendly. And this should do it. No, bobbled by Peraza, and Iglesias beats it out. He spoke too soon. So an E4 on Peraza. Hey, premiering tonight on Yes, catch an all-new episode of Home Plate New York as Yankees GM Brian Cashman and his daughter Gracie enjoy a meal with Marcus Samuelsson and Chaz Palminteri at his restaurant in Midtown Manhattan. Don't miss the new episode tonight after the postgame on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
You've been to Chaz's in White Plains, haven't you?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good food. Pitch outside. Chaz, a legitimate big-time fan.
Oh, I know. Remember we did the commercial with him?
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a mob movie when he showed up. You know that?
The 1-0. 1-1. He does play tough guys in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Runner goes from first, no throw. He'll take second on defensive indifference. So unless the Padres stage an improbable rally, this will break the string. 23 games that they've led after 7 innings. They have not lost one of them. So the fact that they led 3-2 after the top of the 7th, that falls under that stat. And you know what? It's now 23-1 as the Yankees, with a big-time 7th inning, beat the Padres 12-3.
Well, this is a really feel-good win for the Yankees. When you take that 7th inning and what they accomplished offensively, that was absolutely incredible. Clark Schmidt, good job tonight. Good to see him back in the starting rotation. And you know what? The Yankees have lost 3 in a row. They haven't lost 4 all year, so they've stopped that streak also. See you tomorrow night, Mike.
So 23-0 when they lead in the 7th inning or later. Now it's 23-1. Their 6-game winning streak is snapped, and the Yankee losing streak is snapped as well. Big win for the Yanks. And as Paul said, tomorrow's a rubber game with Max Fried on the mound. We'll come back with interviews in the postgame after that. It's time for the Range Rover Sport Dynamic Performer, Paul.
Well, this 7th inning was something, and Ben Rice added to it. Another great at bat, a double down the line, 2-run double that just kept the Yankees going.
And now it's time for the Cadillac Drive the Game.
Wow, this is no shocker here. Wow. Austin Wells, his 7th home run of the year, his first grand slam of his career. Got everybody on their feet. That's your drive of the game.
10-run, 7th inning. Leads to the Yankees with a 12-3 win, 12-10-1, beating 3-10-1. Time of the game, 2:45. Cruz gets the win. Morejón took the loss. Padre bullpen, 10 runs allowed in that 7th inning. Wells had a big night, and it's Padres' first loss this season when leading in the 7th inning or later. Not after the 7th, in the 7th inning or later. Coming up on the YES Network, stay tuned for the W.B. Mason postgame show with Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry. Special thanks to producer Troy Benjamin, director Dan Barr, Mike Webb, and the executive producer of the YES Network is Jared Ames Bosnack. Join us again tomorrow as the Yankees wrap up this interleague series against the Padres in the Bronx. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Prime, with first pitch coming shortly after 7. Once again, the final score, the New York Yankees 12, the San Diego Padres 3. For Paul O'Neill and Justin Shackle, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Now let's go to Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry, standing by in our YES Network studios with the W.B. Mason postgame show. Guys?
Hey everybody, great to have you with us here on the W.B. Mason postgame. Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry with you. Game 2 of 3 between the Yanks and Padres. Yankees win it 12-3. Jack, last night it was the Padres rallying against the Yankees bullpen as we get your Hyundai opening comment. Tonight it was the Yanks in the 7th doing that against the Padres bullpen, which you told us was a terrific bullpen.
Yeah, and it was a memorable and much-needed 10-run 7th inning for the Yankees against a vaunted Padres bullpen. Coming into tonight, Bob, they had the best earned run average in the major leagues. They had not allowed a run in 14 2/3 innings, but just a series of really smart and productive at-bats by the Yankees in that inning. It culminates with a grand slam by Wells, and that's going to get a ton of attention. But there were so many smart at-bats before that. Volpe and Rice and Dominguez, Bellinger chipped in. And here's the note the Yankees should like the most about that inning. Well, 10 runs were scored, but 7 hits, 6 of them came from homegrown Yankees. So their youth coming through and making sure that the Yankees don't experience their first 4-game losing streak of the season.
Let's take a look at everything that happened in that 7th inning. It's our turning point of the game, brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. And here we go, top of the 7th inning, 2 batters aboard, bases loaded. In fact, a 3-2 game. Machado up. And Fernando Cruz gets him with that splitter. He'd worked himself into trouble, but then out of trouble, and they avoid further damage. So, Jack, they take a 3-2 lead into that bottom of the 7th. Michael King out. He'd allowed 2 runs. Adrian Morejón in, and the Yankees get on him, starting with Jason Dominguez.
Yeah, and that's a slider that he rips into the left center field gap for a double. What's notable about that? He was in the right side of the batter's box. That's his 4th hit as a right-handed batter this year. Very timely.
And then you just pass the baton. Anthony Volpe, 2-2 pitch into center field. Dominguez won't score, but now they're set up 1st and 3rd, and that brings up Austin Wells.
And Wells is going to step in right now with 1 out. And he's going to do some damage as well, Bob. First pitch swinging. He takes this sinker, wraps it into right field. It's an RBI single. Yankees tie it up. There are some exhales in the dugout. It's 3-3.
Now, this is the one at bat that went a little sideways. Oswaldo Cabrera comes up, tries the sack bunt, Jack, but he pops it up.
Yeah, the pitch was too high in the zone, and his bat makes contact, but it develops into a pop out. He's upset. Machado collects it for the first out.
Keep an eye on Anthony Volpe. He's off to the races. Austin Wells breaking for second. Not even a throw. So 2nd and 3rd. And then with Paul Goldschmidt in the batter's box, they decide to intentionally walk him. That's going to load the bases with 1 out. Wandy Peralta, the former Yankee, comes in, and he's facing Grisham.
And he could not find the zone, Bob. 4 straight pitches outside of the zone, so the Yankees say yes, they will take that gift-wrapped run and go ahead.
And Ben Rice up, 0-2 pitch. Rips it down the line and right. Peralta trying to get a fastball inside, and instead Rice turns on it. Wells and Goldschmidt will score. Grisham goes into 3rd. 2 ribbies for Rice. It's 6-3 Yankees, and up comes Aaron Judge.
Judge up. There's an open base. They're obviously going to put him on. That reloads the bases. Now left on left. Nice job by Bellinger. He takes the sinker into right field for another base hit. Grisham scores, increases the lead to 7-3.
You give Judge a free pass, you got to make him pay, and Bellinger did. 2 batters later, Anthony Volpe off Manny Machado. It's ruled an infield single. Peraza scores from third. It's 8-3 Yankees, and that leads us to the loudest hit of the inning. It's our optimum player of the game, and then it's Austin Wells up with the bases loaded.
Yeah, Peralta is sinker, slider, changeup. And in this instance, 3-2. He's going to try and go to a changeup to get him out of this inning, but forget about it. Instead, Wells turns it into a souvenir, a grand slam into the right field seats. 10 runs in the inning. The Yankees go ahead 12-3, and there is jubilation in the Bronx.
What an inning for the Yankees. The 10 runs on 7 hits, 3 walks, 2 of them intentional. They sent 13 batters to the plate in the bottom of the 7th in a half inning that lasted 22 minutes. And ultimately results in a 12-3 Yankees win. Right after the game, Justin Shackle talked to Ben Rice on the field.
Ben, you were down 0-2 against Wandy Peralta, and you get another changeup after 2 prior changeups. What allowed you to maybe stay back and get on that pitch to give this team the lead?
Yeah, I think once you get behind there 2 strikes, it's just simplify everything, be nice and short to the ball, and just try to put something in play. Hopefully something good will happen.
You had nothing but lefty pitchers out there in that 7th inning. What allowed the lefty-lefty matchups to go so much in the Yankees' favor?
Man, it just comes down to everybody having a plan and just trying to execute the best you could. Just being aggressive to your zone and doing damage.
Because of that other context, best inning of the year offensively?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to check the tapes. I'm not sure. But that was awesome though.
What was it like watching Clark Schmidt take command of this Padres lineup tonight?
That was great. Worked himself out of trouble a couple times too. He was just awesome. I thought all of his stuff was working really well, so that was great to see.
Ben, thanks for the time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Justin, thank you for that. Cooking up something special, courtesy of Hex Clab. Bottom of the 7th tonight, the Padres bullpen allowed 10 runs. They'd allowed 26 in their previous 128 2/3 innings. And for the Yankees offense, those 10 runs scored the most in a half inning since July 28th of 2015 when they scored 11. So twofold, Yankees offense getting some really good swings against a really good Yankees bullpen, or Padres bullpen, but coming a night after they suffered a disappointing loss in which they gave up a lead, and the Padres rallied for 4 in the 8th. So bouncing back tonight.
A night after that loss, and then a half an inning after they just gave the lead up to the Padres as well. Not the lead, but the game was tied. So the Padres go ahead in the top of that inning. And if you're in that Yankee dugout, you're saying to yourself, you got to figure out a way to extricate yourself from this. You can't have another loss. You have to bounce back. But you can say it all you want, Bob. You have to actually go out there and execute. That was a good question by Justin about the lefties in that inning. 4 of the 7 hits the Yankees got in that inning were left on left. And if you watched every one of those at-bats, Bob, and broke them down, Ben Rice was right. It was just a series of smart at-bats, one after the other. The Yankees really locked in against those Padres relievers in that inning. There was a relentlessness to what they were trying to do, but there was also a smartness to what they were trying to do. They swung at strikes, and they made the Padres pay all inning.
We also notice sometimes they get very aggressive. They have a game plan that maybe is jump on the first pitch. They waited out Morejon. They waited out Peralta. They waited for the pitch that they wanted to hit.
Yeah, I think it's easy to go back to the start and say, well, it all started there, but I want to give Dominguez a lot of credit. It has been rough for him against lefty pitchers this year. He came into tonight hitting under 100 against lefties. He has not seen some playing time because of his ineffectiveness against lefties. For him to go in there in the bottom of that inning and start things off against Morejon, he got a slider that was a little bit up. His double allowed the Yankees to breathe, because you're even thinking to yourself, well, if they move him over to third and then they could score him on a sacrifice fly, they're at least tying the game. I'm sure that was going through the Yankees' mind. They did a lot more than tie the game. They hung a 10 spot on the Padres.
We're going to take our first break here on the WB Mason postgame. A lot more coming up. Aaron Boone has a lot of good things to talk about tonight in a 12-3 Yankees win. The Managers coming up next.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is presented by WB Mason. Get fast free delivery of food service products you need at prices you'll love. Request your free catalog today at WBMason.com. Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Well, check out some great new original shows on Yes. Tonight, catch the latest edition of Home Plate New York as Yankees general manager Brian Cashman and his daughter Gracie enjoy a meal at Chaz Palminteri's restaurant in Midtown. And Gracie Cashman can also be seen hosting The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery, which premieres on Wednesday, May 14th, featuring Anthony Volpe. As for our game tonight, Yankees win Game 2 of the series by a final count of 12-3. The thing to keep an eye on, what happened in that bottom of the 7th inning. They sent 13 men to the plate, scored 10 runs against the Padres bullpen. Here's Aaron Boone breaking down that big inning, starting with Justin Shackle in the manager's report, brought to you by Toyota.
Aaron, the first time through that 7th inning, no lefty made an out against the lefty pitchers. What made those matchups work so well in your favor?
Yeah, and good lefties, too, that are tough on lefties. So started again with JD that inning. He had really good at bats all night, and then one from the right side to get us going there, and then just, Wellesley aggressive there, shoots the hole. Goldie comes in and forces the walk, and then just a lot of, Grish was real patient. 2 strikes by Rice there, so just, Belly gets that's not an easy thing to run across, and really every ball kind of scalded too against a really good left on left guy. Like he is tough on lefties, and then put a big inning up like that was big.
Seeing Dominguez get a hustle double from the right side to start that off, what type of spark did it bring to your dugout?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch him run. He can really go. So yeah, I think it definitely. I mean, looking back at it, it was really big play, and kind of set the tone for that inning, and then just great at bats followed.
What did you see from Clark tonight?
Good. I thought he kind of got better as he went. I thought sprayed it a little bit at times, but really stayed away from mistakes, and I thought his stuff was really good. Right away, I thought that, that sinker was consistently mid-90s, so was the cutter. I thought he spun the ball really well, too, handled both sides of the plate. Machado put some good swings on him, but and then, the one kind of pickle he got into, he's able to limit enough damage to keep us right there. So just a really good, strong 6 innings by him.
Yeah, any debate leaving him in with 85 pitches despite the 2 lefties?
No, not coming off the week he's had, and just it was good getting him out of there on a good note at that point.
Brendan.
Understanding that your lineup's not filled with 2023 Yankees, how much do you guys think your familiarity with Wandy helped that inning?
I don't know. Maybe a tad bit, but you're usually more familiar with guys you face a lot. But now, these guys, they're so prepared. You have a really good idea of who guys are, what they do, what they like to do. So maybe minor.
Brian.
It's not often you see a guy get 5 RBI in an inning. What would you say about Wells' at-bats there?
Great. And 2 different kind of at-bats, too, where one was real patient. One, he jumped and smoked it, pounded it in the hole. And then just a real patient at-bat where they were kind of spinning him a little bit and left no doubt on one. So 2 different kind of at-bats, but both strong.
Eric and Max.
King has had quite a few games where he's really racked up the strikeout totals, had 2 against you guys tonight. What was your approach to it? What impressed you? You guys didn't punch out too much again.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not easy to do against him where he can definitely rack them up. So I thought we had a good approach against them all night long. But weren't in a race to put the ball in play too either. There were some patient at bats in there. From every guy. Like I thought we made him come into the zone. Bless you.
Thank you.
which was good. Like we didn't do a lot of chasing of him, which once he starts getting into 2-strike counts, because he's got different weapons, he starts getting chased, and we didn't do that tonight, which was good.
I mean, Clark seemed pretty exasperated with the balk call. What was the explanation, and if you had a chance to see it?
Yeah, when you're a hybrid like Clark is, you got to declare if you're going to go in the windup, and typically they've asked you, but they don't have to do that anymore. So we've got to declare that if you're in the windup and you're a hybrid, where Clark's kind of the side there. So, yeah.
The top of the 7th could have really unraveled there for Cruz after the double on the walk. That at bat against Machado. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean that because all the runs that got scored. That's a big part of that game, where wasn't necessarily perfect there for a cruiser who's been so good, but he didn't give in at all, and just didn't give in to Arise when he fell behind him, knowing, hey man, I just have to keep making my pitches, be in the strike zone, and yeah, that was massive, getting that out, limiting the damage, keeping us right there, and then obviously guys go put up a great inning.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of that 10-run bottom in the 7th, what was interesting is he broke down what Austin Wells did in that inning with his 2 at-bats and 5 runs batted in. That first at-bat against Morejon, aggressive, 0-0 count. Next one, 3-2 against Peralta.
He jumped on the first pitch. You're absolutely right, Bob. He got a sinker. He's looking to do damage there. You've got a pitcher who's on the ropes a little bit. He knows one base hit allows the Yankees to tie the game. So a smart approach by Wells. He's going to attack as soon as he can. And then in his second at-bat in the inning, yes, he did get another at-bat in that inning. It was a more prolonged at-bat, as Boone just detailed, and he takes a 3-2 changeup out for a grand slam. 2 really smart and savvy at-bats by Wells. Coming into tonight, he was 8 for 40 with 10 strikeouts and 2 home runs against lefties. So for him to have those 2 quality at-bats against 2 quality relievers when the Yankees absolutely, positively needed them, really a big night for Wells.
All right, we got to take a break. We got more coming up here on the WB Mason post-game recap on a 12-3 Yankees win as they even the series against the Padres at a game apiece. Stick around.
Game show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires.
Tomorrow night on Prime, watch Aaron Judge and the Yankees take on Fernando Tatis Jr. and the Padres in the series finale. Don't miss a minute of Yankees coverage beginning at 6:30 only on Prime, with post-game coverage immediately after on Yes. Let's go back to a key at bat. 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. It's Aaron Judge versus Michael King, and our highlights brought to you by your local Ford stores. StatCast 3D, powered by Google Cloud, going to ship into what was a really good at-bat.
King called Judge the best player in the sport, but Bobby goes right after him with a fastball that is fouled off, comes back with a fastball, overthrows it, so now the count is 1-1. You go way up there, what are you going to do next? That's the best pitch that King threw, a sweeper, so he's ahead 1-2. He's going to try it again. This one's a little up, and Judge misses it. He fouls that one off. I haven't shown you my changeup yet. I'm going to go down with that. You look like you were tempted by that. I think I'm going to go to a changeup again. A ton of movement on that, tailing in, but Judge is able to foul it off. King goes back to the fastball. Look at his reaction, Bob. He knows immediately that Judge has just parked him for a home run. A really strong battle between the two of them. King had talked about Judge's plate coverage and how difficult he is to face, and that at-bat was evidence of it.
So you take a look at what he leads Major League Baseball in: average hits, his 12 homers, OBP, his slug, and his OPS. And then during his 32-game on-base streak now, batting .413 with 8 home runs over that span. And that's the fun thing to watch about games like this, when a former teammate like Michael King comes in talking about knowing him but really never having to face him, and then game planning. All right, I know this guy. How can I get him out? And he did in his first at-bat with a fly ball to right.
Yeah, and he challenged him in the first at-bat, too. Started him out with a sinker, then he mixed in some sliders as well. But that at-bat was Michael King saying to Judge, I'm going to come after you with my best stuff. I think when he got ahead with that 1-2 sweeper, he tried with one more sweeper, Bob. He wanted to put it in the exact same spot, except he elevated a little bit, and Judge just missed it. Judge fouled it back. So then he moved away from that sweeper and said, now I got to show you a different look. Couple of change-ups, didn't produce exactly what he wanted. He comes back with a fastball, and Judge is just so good. Paul O'Neill did a great job breaking down this home run during the game. You just look at Judge's zone coverage, just the amount of time he has his bat in the zone to be able to do that kind of damage.
Now, one more thing, Jack, as it relates to Aaron Judge, and that's in that 7th inning. Open base, you intentionally walk Aaron Judge, the hottest hitter on the planet. You got to make him pay. Now, it's not often maybe that Bellinger does that, or he does it sometimes, but that was a perfect instance of sort of continuing what was happening in that inning, having a really good at-bat, and then making him pay.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Cody in spring training where he talked about when he's at his best as a hitter, and he talked about how all of his hits have to come when he's swinging inside the baseball. And if he gets too long or if he gets out of his own rhythm, that's when he's going to have some problems. I think we've seen some of that this year, Bob, not in that at-bat. Sometimes when a left-handed hitter gets up there against a left-handed pitcher, O'Neill used to say this a lot, you just get more locked in. There's almost more of a laser focus because you know how tough of an at-bat that's going to be. I think that's what happened with Bellinger there. The Yankees are hoping that that propels him to bigger things.
I want to add this, too, because Paul O'Neill broke it down with Bellinger. We don't always, with a 2-strike count, see him cut down his swing, but there were a couple pitches when he wasn't a 2-strike count where he just kind of flicked him and fouled him off, and that's something maybe a little different than we've seen from Bellinger.
Yeah, I think Bellinger has the ability to do that, and I think, Bob, when you get into a spot where he was in that 7th inning and it's such a crucial spot, you got to put the ball in play. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to do that. So cutting down on your swing is actually a very smart move. A lot of hitters following that, and it worked for Bellinger tonight. 4
Yanks had multi-hit games in this one, including Ben Rice, as he goes 2 for 4 with a couple doubles and 2 runs batted in. Let's hear from Rice on the 7th inning.
Okay. Ben, how would you summarize that 7th inning from your perspective, being a part of it and then watching some of it too?
Yeah, that was amazing. Just to break through there. It's been a back-and-forth game, so for everybody to come through there and get some runs across was big time.
You get the sense that an inning like that can carry over not just obviously the rest of tonight, but into future games?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think it can be contagious a little bit and give us some good momentum heading into tomorrow.
What was Michael King doing in those first innings that first innings that kept you guys so close?
He's got good stuff. And he's a good pitcher. He's got solid command too. I think he's just getting guys a little off balance, using all his different pitch types too. So yeah, he did well.
Dominguez turning that into a hustle double. How much of a spark was that for you guys?
Yeah, that's huge, and that's what he can do, right? He can stretch singles into doubles. He can do a lot of things with his speed. So, I mean, he's got all the tools in the world. So it's fun to watch.
Ben, this Yankee Stadium hit 50 million fans tonight. It's believed to be the second fastest stadium ever to get there. When you hear that, what's your reaction?
It hit
50 million total fans have come into this Yankee Stadium after today's attendance.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand what you meant.
I'm sorry.
I was like,
oh,
okay. Yeah, I mean that's amazing. I mean it speaks to the fans that we have and just how excited everybody gets in this city to watch this team play. So that's awesome.
And from first base, what did you see from Clark tonight in his 6 innings?
Great command of all of his different pitch types. I feel like he had a good feel for everything, and was just attacking guys. I feel like I really liked how he stayed aggressive and didn't give in.
Ben Rice getting the job done tonight. A lot of guys did in that 7th inning, including Jason Dominguez. Jack talked about that, leading off with that hustle double to get the Yankees going as they scored 10 runs in that inning. Let's hear from Dominguez with the media.
Jason, what did you see in the 7th inning? What did you see on that hit that allowed you to think automatic double?
I mean, when I hit, I know I got the ball in the gap. So as soon as I hit, I just think second base and from hard.
Do you think that's the best offensive inning you guys have had this season? Not just from the results, but from the cohesion, the way you were working at bats against the lefty pitchers?
I mean, that first inning was incredible, but that inning was a really good one. Like, the whole team putting good at-bats together, it was a really good one.
For you, do you want to hit everyone, but do the at-bats against lefties mean a little bit more?
What'd you say?
I know you want to hit everyone, but do the at-bats against lefties when you're hitting righty, does that mean any more to kind of prove that you can hit those guys?
I mean, I'm being struggling from the right side, and getting that hit from that side, obviously, like, it means a lot.
When you're at the plate and you make good contact, how eager are you to showcase your speed?
I mean, it just depends, Every time I hit the ball and I know it's in the gap, I know my speed can place up.
Do you feel like that part of your game is overlooked?
Do
you feel that part of your game is overlooked?
What is overlooked, man?
Like, people don't pay as much attention to it as some of your other skills.
I really don't. I feel like people know that I can run.
Jason, with the number of fans that came to tonight's game, this Yankee Stadium has had 50 million people come through it. When I say that to you, what's your reaction?
I mean, it's just incredible. Yankees fans, they're really the best. I mean, not much to say, just it's incredible, awesome.
Well, Yankees fans certainly got a treat tonight with this 12-3 win, the ones who are in the Bronx and the ones watching, obviously. For Jason Dominguez, you have said this a lot this season. You got to give him some run, whether it's in left field or just getting playing time. It was interesting tonight, the initial idea to have Paul Goldschmidt take the night off. He later came in and pinch hit, but then Rice at first allows the DH spot to be open. So all four outfielders were really at work, and Dominguez was the DH.
Right. If you want to see Dominguez become more adept at hitting left-handed pitchers, doing a better job from the right side, well, he's got to play. Well, part of the reason he hasn't played is because Grisham has had such a solid start and has deserved at-bats. But I do think that tonight's at-bat is something that he can build on, Bob, and the fact that he was able to use his speed, because there are not a lot of players who that's an automatic double. Dominguez made sure that it was for him, and after the Yankees had taken a punch from the Padres in the top of the 7th inning, it was Dominguez's hit and his speed that allowed the Yankees to punch back. He's got some work to do from the right side. He's now 4 for 37 against lefty pitchers this year, but I do believe that the more the Yankees play him, the more he's going to get better in that role. It's just a matter of getting at bats.
We got to take another break. More coming up here on the WB Mason postgame as we continue breaking down this Yankees 12-3 win, and then eventually Jack and I will look ahead to the series finale coming up Wednesday in the Bronx. Stick around.
Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by EEP Law, New York City's powerhouse firm for victims. The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com.
Let's take a look at Clark Schmidt's night. Pitching decisions presented by Sage. And first order of business, always get through that top of the first as clean as you can. Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off, and 1-2 pitch gets him on a nice sweeper. He did allow a couple runners in the inning, but got out of it. Then second inning starts to get into a groove and gets a little help from his friends.
Yeah, that double play was important for him right there. He threw a cutter, was able to get out of it. And there you're going to see a rise. There's the cutter. There's the double play again. So second and third inning, Bob, he's able to end both innings with double plays.
Had bases loaded in the fourth. The second base umpire calls the balk right there. Schmidt disagrees. No argument, though. The runner scores.
Yeah, Rich Marazzi, who advises several teams as an umpire expert, said exactly what Boone said. He said because he's in a hybrid position, you've got to come to a stop. If you don't declare that you're pitching from a windup, that stop, Bob, includes your feet as well. Clark didn't do that, but he did that. That pickoff was important in the fifth inning. Not sure where Wade is going, but that's a really big out for Clark Schmidt in a close game.
No doubt about that. Keeps it a 2-2 game. Then 0-2 count coming up to Luis Arraez and gets him on a knuckle curve to end the inning, and then finishes his night with a 1-2-3-6.
Yeah, we're going to see him get a swing and a miss right here from Merrill. A really nice job by Clark Schmidt on a night where he was going up against his old buddy and his old teammate, Michael King. He acquitted himself quite nicely.
Schmidt got him through 6 innings, took him 85 pitches to do it, 34 cutters. The Padres went 3 for 7 against that with a double, a walk, and a sac fly. But you see the success that the sweeper had. The knuckle curve got 3 strikeouts. Again, 6 innings, 85 pitches, 2 runs allowed. Good job by Schmidt. Let's hear from him now on our Genesis Sounds of the Game.
Clark, you did a good job pitching yourself out of certain situations. How did you prevent anything from blowing up tonight?
I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of the name of my game a little bit is, I like to, obviously I'm not trying to put myself in those situations, but when those situations arise, I think, I kind of like to dig my heels in the ground a little bit and dig deep and get outs, big outs when I need them. And, I like to always be gritty out there and just trying to get big outs when I need them. And so when runners are in scoring position or my back's kind of against the wall, I kind of not like, thrive or want to be in those situations, but I feel comfortable in those situations.
When you have 2 guys on and you're behind 3-1 on Bogarts in the 4th inning, what's the mentality there, and how do you get out of that, Jim?
I mean, throw a strike. Obviously, was falling behind that 1 inning, throwing some quality pitches, but just nibbling a little bit too much. And, when I was in those situations, just, attack this guy. And, that Bogarts in particular, felt like a pretty good matchup for me. So it's one of those guys where you don't want to let kind of go away, especially with how dangerous the rest of their lineup is. So for me, I was trying to go right at him.
Just observing that bottom of the 7th, when does it switch from being tense to entertaining?
Yeah. I mean, it happens pretty quick. I think, when obviously we gave up the run there and you go down, but it just kind of felt like, we've had some really good close games this past week, and, a lot of good ABs, a lot of good pitching performances, and felt like we were really close the whole time. So it just felt like the chips were going to fall our way one of these nights. And, what a performance from the offense. Just that inning was very impressive. And, it's a lot of fun when they're clicking like that. It's a lot of fun to be on this side.
What was the explanation on the balk?
I mean, I had no idea the rule, but I guess you have to declare. I should probably know that rule, but I didn't know. So you have to declare that you're going through the windup, and just didn't know the rule.
Like, obviously you're not facing Michael in the batter's box, but seeing him in another uniform, a guy that you kind of came up with, who you've been compared to in terms of confidence and the way that you guys carry yourself, what was that like tonight for you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fun. I think obviously a lot easier playing with him than competing against him. Great pitcher, great person. I think, I can't speak highly enough of him and everything that he's done for this organization and for myself, and just being able to compete with him and play with him was a lot of fun, and hopefully somewhere down the line we can reunite. But a lot of fun being able to compete against him as well. I think, we're both very competitive. It's kind of like playing one of your brothers, in the backyard. So it was a lot of fun.
When you got bumped today, did you get excited seeing that you were
Yeah, well, at first I checked I just checked the app, like the app who was like pitching against me, and I saw a Kolick or somebody I think it was TBD or something, and then he texted me actually right after the news, and he was like, I see you just wanted to face me, and so I mean, my reply was I guess I got to lock in a little bit more now, because I mean, he's just a great pitcher, and but yeah, I definitely got excited. It's like I said, it's like playing your brother, and you obviously want to go out there and have some bragging rights. I don't know what the lines were. I felt like they were very similar. So I guess we'll play for the tie on that, but I guess we'll give the win to Judge because he got him, so we'll give it to him.
Well, here was the battle of the buds, if you will. Both Michael King and Clark Schmidt going 6 innings. King allowed just 3 hits and 2 runs. Schmidt 7 hits and 2 runs. Schmidt had more strikeouts. They both threw about the same number of pitches. So a good mano matchup, as you said, but also the fact that Schmidt took him a little deeper into a game. His last time out, 90 pitches to get through 5 innings. Tonight, 85 to get him through the sixth.
I think that's really important, Bob, that they got 18 outs out of Clark Schmidt, and it's something that the Yankees have been aching to see from Clark Schmidt. It's actually his longest outing since last May. He had an 8-inning stint against Minnesota last May. So for him to be able to go out there and essentially match what Michael King did, and remember, Michael King was 7th in the Cy Young Award voting last season. He's someone that is already being talked about as one of the most highly sought-after free agents after this season. So for Schmidt to be able to go head-to-head with him, very important for the Yankees. And Justin asked him one question about making sure that when there were traffic on base that he really locked it in. Bob, there were 10 plate appearances where the Padres had runners on base, only 1 base hit. So Schmidt did a really nice job of making sure that nothing ever turned into a catastrophe for him tonight.
Yeah, it should go noted, too. Just 1 walk tonight. He was coming off 4 in his last outing against Toronto. We got to take a break. We got a lot more coming up here on the WB Mason postgame, recapping the 12-3 win. Austin Wells, a big single and then a grand slam in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 5 runs batted in. We will hear from him coming up.
Post-game show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
The former Padre, Trent Grisham, who's 0 for 3 tonight, going to face the former Yankee, Wandy Peralta. Ball 4. Walked him on 4 pitches. That'll bring home Volpe. The Yankees lead 4-3.
Now you're trying to break this game wide open if you've been Rice.
Grounded inside first and down the right field line. It's a big 2-run double for Rice. And the Yankees lead 6-3. Line drive, right field. It is a base hit. RBI single for Bellinger. And the Yankees pouring it on. Hit sharply and off the glove of Machado. A run scores. It's an RBI single for Volpe. And it's 8-3 Yankees. Wells, the 12th batter to come to the plate. Drill deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. A grand slam. The Yankees lead 12-3.
Big 10-run bottom of the 7th inning for the Yankees in a 12-3 win. And tonight's attendance of 38,090 moved the Yankees past 50 million in paid attendance for regular season games at the current Yankee Stadium. Yankees saying thank you, fans. They turn up in droves. They did tonight again, and they saw some fireworks in that 7th inning, including from Austin Wells. 2 big hits, 5 runs batted in that inning. Let's hear from Wells.
Austin, a pretty memorable way of getting your first career Grand Slam. What do you remember about how that milestone went down?
Just how long that inning was and how everyone in front of me just was working great at bats. That was a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to be a part of.
What would you attribute the success that all the lefties had against lefty pitchers that frame?
We got some really good hitters, and I don't know if it's one thing that made it great, but I think swinging at strikes and being ready to go.
How were you and Clark able to stay away from certain situations blowing up and developing into bigger messes?
Yeah, he did a great job of limiting when guys got on, and I think that was probably his best outing of the year so far, just being able to manage situations and get quick outs when he needed to.
How did King look to you?
He looked great. King always looks great.
You were in the hole and Jason got that hustle double. Just what did that do to open up the floodgates there that inning?
Yeah, it was momentum right out the gate, and I think for him to do that and get on scoring position immediately with nobody out gave us a good chance to score.
Do you ever remember having 5 RBIs in the same inning before at any level?
Maybe not in the same game, so no, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool.
With tonight's attendance, Yankee Stadium, this version crossed 50 million all-time fans, believed to be the fastest stadium ever to get there. When I say that, what's your reaction?
sounds like a lot of fans. But it's that's really cool and impressive, and I wouldn't expect it in any other city.
Well, again, a lot of fans in the stadium and a lot of things to cheer about tonight. And again, I go back to this. Just a night after losing the way the Yankees did, to come back and power their way to a win like that really changes the tone going into the series finale.
There's no doubt, Bob. The Yankees had lost 3 in a row. 2 of those 3 losses happened after the 7th inning when their bullpen gave up some runs. So for them to flip the script, so to speak, tonight against the Padres and have their offense do the damage that it did, I think that's the kind of thing that can propel you forward, because once you have this kind of inning against a really good bullpen, you should believe that you can have that kind of inning every night. It doesn't mean you will, but just the fact that they had so many good at-bats. And Wells deserves a lot of credit, Bob, for what he has done this year. That was a great inning for him. He'll always remember this game and that inning for his first career grand slam. But another thing to point out about him is just his sturdiness and his durability this year. The Yankees have played 36 games. He has started 28 of them. So he's on pace to catch or start about 130 games. That's a lot of time behind the plate, and the Yankees need it.
Grand slam for Wells. Will the word grand show up in the Yes Press headline? Jack is having the boys in the back printed up right now. It'll be your morning headline after a 12-3 win. We'll talk about that and Max Fried in the series finale. Don't go anywhere.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by FanDuel. All FanDuel customers can make every dinger on Tuesdays mean more with a profit boost from FanDuel.
After we wrap up here, catch an all-new episode of Home Plate New York as Yankees general manager Brian Cashman and his daughter Gracie enjoy a meal with Marcus Samuelsson and Chaz Palminteri at his restaurant in Midtown Manhattan. Don't miss the new episode tonight after the postgame here on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. A Yankees win, and a big Yankees win, 12-3, gives us the Yes Press headline. It's what everybody's going to be talking about tomorrow morning. You get it tonight. What is it, JC?
Tonight's Yes Press headline is going to focus on the overall effort. Yankees hang 10 runs in 7th. Heavenly inning punishes Padres.
I like it. Hanging 10, anything to do with the West Coast Padres, being from San Diego, a lot of good surf down there.
Come on, Bob Lorenz. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm rolling, and I'm going with hanging 10 in the 7th heaven. Bring a little heavenly in for you in the next segment. Yeah, you wanted to work in a Wells or a Grand or something like that, but there were so many contributors tonight. I felt like we had to stay up top like that.
Could be doing some kind of a hang 10 Beach Boy kind of vibe for Wednesday's game, because the kid from Southern California, Max Fried, is going to be on the mound. Let's take a look at the pitching probables coming up for Wednesday. It is Max Fried against Dylan Cease. Wednesday's probables courtesy of Nissan. Dylan Cease, a subpar season, Jack, pitching to an ERA of about 5.5, while Max Fried has not allowed an earned run over his last 3 starts. Yankees have not lost a game in which he's taken the ball.
Yeah, the Yankees will be looking for some good vibrations from that SoCal kid tomorrow, because he's been so good for them already this season, Bob. 6-0 on the season. They're 7-0 in games that he starts. And every time you see Max Fried on the mound, you just see a pitcher who has a plan and who goes out there and figures out a way to execute that plan. He has so many different pitches that he can go to, changes speed on his pitches. He's got the pitch comm on his belt, and he's calling his own game. So he has been a marvel for the Yankees, and he has been so exciting for them to watch. Justin interviewed Garrett Cole on our pregame show earlier today, and the Yankees would have loved to have seen that Cole-Fried 1-2 combo this year. But without Cole, they needed Fried to be exactly what he has been. He's been tremendous.
And you know what's interesting about Fried, too? Over his last couple outings, Aaron Boone is he's kind of indicated, haven't really seen his best. There have been a couple innings where maybe he threw more pitches than he wanted to, allowed a little more traffic than he wanted to. But again, having said that, the end results are just remarkable.
Yeah, I think both he and Boone have used the word grind a few times, but that's part of being a starting pitcher. There will be nights where one of your pitches might not be doing exactly what you want it to do. For instance, I still think that Fried's curveball is going to be a bigger factor than it has been so far this year. It's a pitch that he has used, but he hasn't had the ton of success that he has had in previous seasons. But for some reason, he's still figuring out a way to win. I go back to the word the Yankees used when they were able to sign him, pitchability. He is someone who goes out there and figures out a way to shut the opposition down.
Meantime, Dylan Cease will be making his 6th start against the Yankees in his career. A couple guys, Jack, have good numbers. Goldschmidt's 3 for 5. Aaron Judge, 2 doubles and a home run. And they just kind of want to feed off that 7th inning because there were so many good at-bats in that inning. I
know you mentioned Cease's ERA earlier, too, above 5.5. He's a better pitcher than that, and the Yankees know that as well. He's going to throw his slider a lot. He throws a four-seamer. He's got a knuckle curve, but he's a very challenging pitcher. And you're right, after that 10-run 7th inning, if you're the Yankees, you're just trying to figure out a way to carry over those kind of quality at-bats into another game against Cease, try and get a series win against a really good team.
Again, Yankees powered by a 10-run bottom half of the 7th inning, and they beat the Padres 12-3 to even the series at a game apiece. We thank you for being with us all night long on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. Wednesday's game is on Prime. Pre-game coverage at 6:30. Catch the game on Prime, and then right after, flip over to Yes. Jack and I, along with Justin, will have complete post-game coverage. Enjoy this win, enjoy the night and the day tomorrow, and we'll see you Wednesday night at 6:30. Take care.